sports56.com. You already know you can listen to Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also keep up to date with everything going on by keeping up with Sports 56 on social media. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch for information on breaking news, chances to win prizes, and video of all the shows. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Stay in touch with Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 on social media. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sportstime with Wolo Stats. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Thank you very much, Drew Barrett, and away we go on this Thursday afternoon, a big Thursday afternoon for sure, with the Naval Academy in town tonight to play the undefeated Memphis Tigers. Undefeated Navy against the undefeated Tigers. The voice of the Tigers will call all the action tonight from the Liberty Bowl Stadium. He joins us now before he has to get to his duties and responsibilities with the Tigers tonight. Dave Woloshin. Good afternoon, Dave.
Good afternoon, man. I'm ready.
You ought to be.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You mentioned 2 undefeated. There's only 23. After tonight, there will only be 22. And we will get to see what Navy is all about. Are they the best rushing team in the country by 50-plus yards? Do they get 54% on third down conversions? Do they own time of possession? Or was that against teams that are really not that good? We'll find out in just a few.
We will find out tonight, in the legendary voice of the Naval Academy, Pete Medhurst, on with Greg and Eli today on middays, and he was just terrific, and I think he knows the stakes of this game tonight and the direction of this league. It was fun listening to his perspective and his years and experience with following the Naval Academy and Academy football and the AAC conference, and tonight is very, very big. You mentioned the aspect of them both being undefeated, Dave. I like that it is the only show in town tonight for college football. Yes, there's a very glamorous NFL matchup tonight between the Eagles and the Packers. That could be the NFC Championship game. A lot of people predicted that. It may not be, but we know for the NFL, the undefeated aspect is not near as big as it is in college football, and sure not as big as it is for someone outside of the Power Five like the Tigers and Navy both are.
No, this is a chance, I think, for both these teams to get a little bit better known. You mentioned it's college football's only game, and I'm honestly hoping that as the Packers and the Eagles unfold, and it's a one-sided game, go Philly,
and channel change,
and that everybody is watching this game to see what it's all about. This is a little different team than a year ago. I think I mentioned this the other day. They've got a new defensive coordinator, and they are a pressure-packed team. I mean, they're only giving up. This is amazing when you talk about Navy. They have only given up basically 226 yards a game. That's it. Only 8.5 points. But then, you have to look at the competition. And it's probably fair for those from Navy to say, well, what has Memphis done? They've beaten 2 Jaguars in South Alabama and in Southern, and those are teams they should beat and beat handily, and they did. And you might say, well, they struggled the first half against Southern. Okay, that's fair. And then you might say, well, how good is Ole Miss? And Ole Miss is a team that beat an Arkansas team that really doesn't appear to be very good, and they actually beat a Southeastern Louisiana team by not as much as many people thought they might. So it's all fair, and that's why we play these games, because we get to know about each team a little bit better as they go along. And tonight will be a true test to see, can Memphis really move the ball against what has been a stout defense, and can they continue to move the ball on the ground without their best running back?
And it will be a battle of wills tonight at Liberty Bowl Stadium, and I would love for people that are making their way over there, if you're already on Tiger Lane, if you're listening on Tiger Lane, or you're making your way to the stadium, I would love to hear from you en route today at 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line or at the First Bank text line 67129. A couple I'm going to say about 2 weeks ago, we were visiting with Brent Beard about college football and the Thursday night games, and it feels like the college game is moving away from Thursday nights, kind of ceding that property, that territory to the NFL, when the Thursday night package for a long time mostly developed on ESPN, I'm going to say as a late 80s thing, and then really boomed in the 90s and beyond. But then the NFL, they recognized it, and they wanted more broadcast partners and windows, and they seem to be taking over, and everybody naturally very reluctant to take on the beast that can be the NFL and the media and media rights and ratings and things like that. I wish we wouldn't do it so easily. I know smart people keep an eye on things like that, but I think there is a place still for a Thursday night game. You don't want it that often. It's very much a disruption to school at places. For the Naval Academy to travel yesterday, to play today, to get in late tonight, to have to be at 8 o'clock class tomorrow. Same for the Tigers to make Thursday, Saturdays very difficult. You don't want to do it a lot. And at a lot of SEC places, Dave, it is such a disruption to campus and to campus life because, that parking by the chemistry building Monday through Friday, that's prime real estate on Saturday for well-heeled booster. So something's got to give there.
You might have to cancel classes on Thursday. I'm sure Navy doesn't like it because they're not very good on Thursdays. They're 1-3, where Memphis is 5-0. It's amazing. I mentioned this yesterday. They're 17-1 on days other than Saturday. I don't understand that record. It's crazy.
It is because it's very disruptive.
I guess it's got to be coincidence. It is disruptive. Here's the ramification.
Dave, what if it's not coincidence? What if it's the staff locking in?
Say that again?
What if it's not coincidence? What if it's the staff really locking in and not letting it be disruptive?
Well, this would be over at least two staffs, right? So I don't know, or somehow it's the culture that's in there. Most of the time when you play on a Thursday, you do get extra time to prepare. A lot of people end up with a bye before it. In Memphis's case with Navy, that's really good because of the singular method of which they approach offense with that triple option that you don't see at all. So, and maybe those extra days are helpful in coaches and players preparing. I don't know. The ramification that I don't like about college football and ESPN acquiescing to the NFL Network and Fox and CBS for Thursdays is they've decided they're going to make Fridays a bigger game. Thursdays were big for a minute. Now it's Friday. And the thing I don't like about that is it sort of, in my mind, is a slap in the face of high schools, which have always owned Friday. And at first they were being respectful of it, and now it seems everybody's forgotten. Wait, we were going to keep Friday for high school, and they're just casting there for the win.
Yeah, and I'm with you on kind of encroaching on high school football that already, budget-wise and personnel-wise, is already fighting some battles in some places, and I hate to see them have to fight even a bigger battle. We will talk with Dave until he has to go to the stadium. At 4 o'clock, we'll visit with Greg Gaston from the stadium. He'll be on the sidelines tonight for the Tigers and the Navy coverage. Bill Bender, our buddy from Sporting News, will be with us at the very bottom of this hour. Then at the bottom of the 4:30 hour, Russell Copeland to talk Tigers and the NFL tonight. I know he will be, he told me he'd probably be already at the stadium or en route when he joins us at 5 o'clock. Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal, he will be at the stadium, so we will have somebody to talk Tigers and Navy and every hour, and we sure want to, as it is a gigantic game tonight for the hometown team. And we'll also visit with Jason Munns about the recently released men's basketball schedule for 2019 and 2020. And at 5:30, Tim Doolin will join us to talk baseball, as now that Cardinal lead is a mere one game, Dave. It's one game everywhere. All-important loss column, every column. It's one game, 3 to go for the Brewers. All 3 will be at Coors Field against the Rockies, 3 to go for the Cardinals. All 3 will be at Busch Stadium against the Cubs. And I remarked about this yesterday, that especially among the better teams, no sport evens out like baseball and is cruel and is tough as those losses administered by the Cardinals on the Cubs last weekend, as tough as it was, oh, boy, a 3-game sweep at Busch this weekend for the Cubs could really put it to the Cardinals.
Well, it could put it to the Cardinals, but the damage is already done in Chicago. The sweep, and now they've lost 8 in a row, and they've lost those games, most of them at the end of the game in heartbreaking fashion. Their spirit is busted. They're now totally out of it. My top story of the day, and I'll change it now.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away, Dave. We know you've quit. We know you've quit on the Cubs.
It was the Brewers. It was the Brewers that have now won since Christian Yelich got hurt 17 of 19 games. And I know we touched on this yesterday, but it's just unfathomable to me because it was the opposite way with Chicago. When they lost Baez and they lost Riz and they lost Contreras, they never were able to band together as a unit. This team lost clearly its best player, clearly
MVP,
one of the best players in the game. And they've won 17 of 19 games to get not only in the playoffs, but as you mentioned, there they are lurking. And I got to tell you, St. Louis, they kind of get mirrored by my man Stats. What they're thinking, he's thinking. Look at him. He's now worried.
I haven't quit, though, Dave. You waved the white flag. You quit. You led the quitting.
No, I noticed when it was done, and I just was one of the first to proclaim it.
It was not analysis. It was defeatism.
Incredible analytical insight.
The Cardinals will have 3 at Busch Stadium against the Cubs. Last night the Cubs kind of folded in that game, took regulars out when the Brewers score was posted. Joe Madden said he would. It seems to be ending for Joe Madden. We've talked a lot about that. We'll visit with Tim Doolin about it. But also the Brewers already gone out there, as I said, staked that win today on Marty Brennaman Day in Cincinnati. His last game with the Reds. The very little I ever knew Marty Brennaman, I knew him a little. He was always so very nice to me out at NCAA tournaments. For years, he was the voice of Westwood One in the NCAA tournament radio package with Larry Conley, and he was always so very nice to me there, mostly at NCAA tournament sites, and a few times I'd see him in St. Louis, and a time or two that I've been to Cincinnati. A very, very nice man, and you know who he replaced as voice of the Reds?
No, I know who he replaced. I think in the NCAA was that Gaylord Ledford.
That's correct. That's correct. For NCAA package, he replaced Al Michaels as local radio voice of the Reds.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is a really good story. You know what first of all, I want to say this. I did meet Marty a couple of times, but I really know his son, Tom, because Tom and I did a lot of games
in CUSA
where we were at the same site. We were both doing games for a network that was involved in both the Great Midwest Conference and then CUSA. I think CUSA.
Yeah.
Also, the Cardinals play-by-play man John Rooney was a part of all that group.
Yeah.
And so I got to know those two guys really well there. And you won't find a better gentleman than Tom Brennaman. I'm happy for his success. He's another one of those guys like Joe Buck that had familial connections.
He got him started.
To advance as far as those two have, you got to be really, really good. And I just thought Tom was a really, really good guy. I thought Cincinnati did a cool thing today. I don't know if you're aware of this. They gave out little old-fashioned transistor radios so everybody in the ballpark, or at least a number of them, could hear Brennaman's final game.
Very, very nice. And John, you're right about John Rooney. For years, John was kind of the studio host and kind of he would throw it back out to game sites and give updates of other games. And if you ever were a stringer for NCAA tournament, you kind of reported to John Rooney. He was kind of the point man that you would check with on Monday before games that weekend. And that's how I got to know John Rooney too. And Dave, it was fun this year, way back in March, way back before this baseball season that will end this weekend. The Cardinals, they come through town and play at AutoZone Park. It was fun to see when you and John Rooney saw each other in the press box and caught up for old time's sake. That was fun to see because it goes back a long way.
It does, and he is a very talented guy. Those two guys, working with them, and that was a lot of fun because they are really, really good at what they do. They know their stuff.
They do know their stuff. Drew, let's get our top story of the day.
Top story of the day.
Dave, you first.
Well, it really is sort of the Brewers, and now they're closer to one. But I'll go with a little different thing. The G League, I don't know if you've seen this. The G League is going to experiment, and all fouls during the game will be one shot, but that shot will be worth 1, 2, or 3 points, depending on the kind of foul and where it was perpetrated. So they're going to do that until the final 2 minutes of the game, and then they'll go back to the regular rules. The interesting thing about this is they think that doing that will shorten the basketball game by 6 to 8 minutes.
Wow.
So the G League is going to see if this thing works out. This could end up being the NBA just to shorten games in the next couple of years.
And we're old enough, Dave, to remember, and Drew's going to look at me cross-eyed when I say this, we remember the days of 3 to make 2 in the NBA, don't we?
I do. Yes, we do.
It was weird.
Yes, we do.
Just trust me, it was weird.
Y'all didn't make any sense back then.
We did. We really didn't.
You thought ties were okay, too?
Yeah, we did.
Y'all didn't know nothing.
You know, we really didn't. 3 to make 2 back in the day. My top story is tonight at Liberty Bowl Stadium, the venerable site over by Southern and Central and Parkway, and it'll be fun. Tonight is, in my opinion, is Brady White night, and here's what I mean. I think it's time, and tonight should be the night for him to be spectacular. Not workmanlike, not just solid, not just a pretty good game, not game manager, not the ham and egg 13 of 22 for 182 yards and a TD and maybe a pick. Tonight is the night for Brady White to break out, get the running game established, and then beat Navy over the top and him make all the throws. A big game. I'm talking about something in the 300-yard area tonight for Brady White to really catapult the Tigers for the rest of this season and the dream of undefeated.
I think that's fair. At home he throws about 75%, so if he can do perform at that percentage, it would be terrific. Here is what his strength, and this is what is needed, really, against a team like Navy. The strength is he manages a game, and the neat thing about this new Navy defense is at the very last second, they like to shift and show you a different front, so they're trying to fool you.
Uh-huh.
And what is Brady's strength? His smarts, his knowing the offense, his recognition, and going to the right man. If he is what we have all been told he is, the great manager of this game and crafty and figures it all out, then he will do exactly as you said. I agree. I think there is so much riding on his ability to manage the game tonight.
I think it is in front of him. I think he's very capable, and I think he will. Not top story, Drew.
Not top story of the day.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, that's the news about the NCAA and Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets got 4 years probation and a 1-season postseason ban today because of violations involving impermissible benefits. They also will lose 1 scholarship for each year of probation. So that's 4 scholarships they're going to lose. There's other recruiting restrictions. This is pretty penal when you consider no postseason this year, loss of 4 scholarships, and other areas of recruiting that will be limited, a $5,000 fine and an additional fine, which equals 2% of their entire basketball budget.
They got hammered.
What?
They got hammered, Dave, and they
they
were very compliant. They self-penalized. They let the NCAA again. I don't know why you would ever not fight the NCAA or at least do. I wouldn't agree with them because it gets you nothing. I agree.
I'm
What's the enticement to be agreeable with them?
Right. No, I mean, if you think you're innocent, you ought to go all out. If you're not,
if you think you're guilty, you don't go all out. I think you should roll over and play dead with them anyway.
The former coach that was really nailed in this, the assistant, his name is Daryl LeBerry. Mm-hmm. He got a 3-year show cause, Josh Pastner was vindicated to a certain extent. But when you hear all this, what's the first thing kind of in the back of your mind now? Wait a second.
They're going to fire
North
Josh.
Carolina slid on academics. Georgia Tech just got nailed. Got nailed for an assistant coach and a crazy guy who, by the way, dropped the charges of the sexual harassment and all the other baloney that he had against Josh Pastner. But it makes me think, so what will happen to Kansas with lack of institutional control and coach responsibility? A lot graver violations than what occurred at Georgia Tech occurred at Kansas. If this is that penalty, what do the Jayhawks get?
And also this, Dave, that ties into that your premise there on how will this affect Kansas. Also the speed from first investigation, first letter, first inquiry to the hammer falling. This was pretty quick, as they are known to move very, 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 very slowly. But this one happened fast. Will they move with that speed on KU?
I have no idea. What's your top story of the day?
Mine's tonight. The other game in football tonight, that's the NFL game. Eagles at Packers at Lambeau Field, and a loss for a pretty trendy playoff pick in the Eagles in the preseason would drop them to 1-3, and they would be looking way up at my Cowboys. The Packers last 4-0 start under a first-year coach. Any guesses? Matt LaFleur tonight can start 4-0. Any guesses on the last time a Packer head coach started 4-0 in his career in Green Bay?
Vince Lombardi.
He started 3-0. Never.
Never.
No first-year coach has ever started 4-0.
Now that one I'm stunned with. All those years, they've never started off 4-0 until the chance for today. Come on, Philly.
Bart Starr sure didn't, but Lombardi started 3-0. LaFleur's got a chance tonight to go to 4-0.
That's amazing.
So the Packers can really put some pain on the Eagles. The Eagles 1-3. That hurts them. They're playing for wild card the rest of the year, aren't they?
They're playing hard just to stay alive. I would agree with that. Speaking of which, there was an interesting story today that has just come out, and the NFL owners are talking about abandoning all exhibition games and playing a 17-game regular schedule. So you'd go from 20 games to 17, and everyone would count. I got to tell you, I like it.
I don't. I hope the Players Association holds fast on, you got it half right. Eliminate the preseason and leave it at 16. We're playing enough football.
Well, you're already going to knock out three games anyway. What's
Good.
the beef about having one that counts?
The more you do something, the more chances you can get hurt at it.
I like this compromise, and I think that's what it is, and I think it's got a chance, because it's a compromise, to pass. I will let you know there is no compromise. There is just really good. At Family Leisure, that spa sale still going on. It's the best spa sale we'll have all year. In some cases, almost 50% off. That $8,000 huge spa down to $4,499. Swim spas are unbelievably priced, and special financing is available. All you've got to do is get to I-40 and Wooden Road. That's where 70,000 square feet of family, of fun, and this spa sale, lowest prices of the year on spas, I promise, all taking place at Family Leisure.
Dave Woloshin getting ready to get set and get to the stadium and call the Tigers action tonight against Navy, and he will be with us a little bit longer as you listen to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hi, folks. Good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. Sunrise Chevy has over 500 Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Factory rebates up to $5,000, Sunrise discounts high as $8,000, and don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. There's always a sale at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Find new roads to 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Chevys cost less at Sunrise, partner.
Hi friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Did you know that September has one of the most beautiful and desirable birthstones of all the gemstones that nature created? That's right, the sapphire is September's birthstone, and if your lady has a birthday this month or an anniversary, a stunning gift of jewelry with a gorgeous blue sapphire in it would make you brownie points for a long time. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant, you cannot make a mistake with a little box from Russell Brothers that has an exquisite piece of sapphire and diamond jewelry right in the center. And when she puts it on and you see that smile, you will know that you made the perfect selection. Fine jewelry is never out of style, and a gift from our large collection of sapphire jewelry accented with diamonds will keep her eyes sparkling for a long time. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, we've been offering the finest in beauty, quality, value, and service to Memphians and Mid-Southerners for almost 35 years. Come see us and let us show you what a full-service jewelry store looks like. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not.
When it comes to your car audio.
Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129.
With free installation.
Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators.
Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories. Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
T-minus 3.5 hours before Tigers and Navy kick it off at Liberty Bowl Stadium tonight. Battle of two undefeateds, and it should be fun. Dave Wolochen getting ready to have his duties and responsibilities with the Tiger Network and call all the action there tonight. He's going to be with us a little bit longer, but every Thursday afternoon at this time we visit with Bill Bender from the Sporting News on Twitter at BillBender92, and he has been writing a lot this week about the fallout from the Michigan loss last Saturday. Michigan really handled last week, Dave, and the fallout from the consternation around Jim Harbaugh. Bill Bender joins us now. And, Bill, good afternoon to you. And big college football game here in Memphis tonight between Navy and Memphis that we're very excited about.
Should be. A couple undefeateds. I think it's the only matchup of undefeated this weekend. So that'll be a good start to the week. I'll be watching my Packers tonight, but I'll be flipping over to that second TV. I can't lie. I'm going to watch Green Bay get out to a 4-0 start. Maybe Memphis will get out to an undefeated start of their own.
They're sure going for it in an undefeated September, and you can't go undefeated on the season unless you go undefeated in September.
Absolutely.
I'm curious.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just curious, Bill, because we just got this stat from Brett that I would not have believed, considering all the success between, in particular, Lombardi, but other coaches after that Green Bay's never had a 4-0 start before.
For a first-year coach.
Is the max the regular season? That's amazing.
For a new coach, for a first-year coach.
For a first-year coach.
Oh, for a first-year coach.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they got out to a couple good starts with Holmgren and Lombardi, and they've had some. But, yeah, I mean, for a first-year coach to come into Green Bay, and, we've got a post about LaFleur up there. Holmgren had a break-in year. McCarthy went 8-8 in his first season. Even Lombardi went 8-5. So, I mean, the difference, and you know this, I know you're a Bears fan, but the difference is Green Bay plays a little bit of deep.
Yeah.
They've got a defense, and you can call Aaron Rodgers a game manager. Well, I like it better than Aaron Rodgers having to pull a rabbit out of his hat, whatever Jay Sweatten said. Instead of him doing that every week, I'd rather them have a controlled game plan where he's just, lead an efficient offense.
Bill, you use that term game manager, and we have described Brady White for the Tigers at quarterback as that he's been really good. There's not a lot of criticism of him locally, but there's some. I think a little more than he probably really deserves with the winning that he has done as starting quarterback. I think a lot of it is the aggravation of the shoes that he had to fill with Paxton Lynch and Riley Ferguson. Those were both two big-time college quarterbacks, and we really kind of got spoiled by quarterback play here. But tonight it will be divergent offenses with the Tigers and Navy because we know what Coach Niumatalolo will run.
Yeah, I mean that's why when you play Service Academy, fast starts essential. You don't want to fall behind double digits, have a bad start, a fumble, or you'll get into a interesting game because Navy's going to stay committed to that for 4 quarters no matter what. So yeah, I think it's for Memphis to get out to a good start. Obviously, there's an opportunity for that program now. Now that UCF lost, you're kind of looking at Memphis, Boise, App State as some teams that could potentially run the tail. I mean, even UAB's having a good year. So those are the teams you're kind of eyeballing that will have potential to reach a New Year's Day Six Bowl.
2 things I've learned about Bill Bender from the Sporting News in the short period of time that I've been on this time slot, and that is he's a Packer man, and he likes Jim Harbaugh. So tell me, what in the world happened? It looked like Wisconsin played the kind of ball Jim Harbaugh would like to play and really was dominant. What's going on at Michigan? What's going on with Harbaugh?
Oh, I mean, the first part's exactly right. I mean, Wisconsin looked like how Michigan's supposed to look. Calculated game plan, taking gambles on 4th down, faith in the offensive line, pushing people off the ball, and Michigan's offense was in complete disarray. Now, I've said this all week, and I really believe it. I don't think there's a team that generates a bigger overreaction when they lose, other than Alabama, than Michigan.
So true.
It's 100% true.
100% true.
And, I mean, they were an underdog, but I don't think we expected them to look so bad. So next part is you're going to ask me, is he on the hot seat? I'll say this. I mean, there'll be some urgency and that kind of stuff. Every coaching candidate that was listed on that Vegas list, none of those people will coach Michigan. None of them. Urban Meyer, Bronco Mendenhall, none of those people are coaching Michigan. So I think the best bet is for Harbaugh to persevere through it, get through this year, figure it out, let Gaddis try to get this offense to work. But it's not going to work if Shea Patterson isn't better.
No, Bill, and without being really even personal to heavily critical of Shea, this has been my read on him for a while now after watching him at Ole Miss. I don't know if he's incapable of being coached and coached hard, or nobody's doing that to him. And I thought Jim Harbaugh would. He's too much of a freelancer. You can tell, and it's hard to take the scramble out of a scrambler, but he wants to tuck it down and wheel off one of those runs like he made at A&M on that Saturday night as a true freshman that was really good, and I really enjoyed that night, to be candid with everybody. But his first inclination is to kind of try to he wants to make lemonade out of every play, and sometimes you just have to take what's in front of you.
Sure. And I think, the other thing that's going to be frustrating for some Michigan fans is Dylan McCaffrey. You've got to look at him in the second half, and he got rolling a little bit, and he gets a concussion. So we're not going to see Dylan McCaffrey this week. We probably won't see him next week, so it's on Shea to kind of just get it done. And, they're going to beat Rutgers this week. And then next week they play Iowa. And at least it's at home, but that's another one of those games where you're looking at the schedule and you're like, yeah, they better win that one because the rest of the schedule isn't very easy.
What if this is the problem at Michigan? What if because let's go back on the legend and lore of Michigan football. Let's remember this about Bo Schembechler, 0-time national championship coach, but a really good coach and somebody you would be proud to have as your face, your legendary all-time figure, but 0-time national championship coach. They did get one with Lloyd Carr in 97, and they had success with Gary Moeller between Bo and Lloyd Carr. But since Lloyd Carr, they tried the hot young thing, offensive coach, proven at a good job in Rich Rod. Then that didn't satisfy him. We got to get somebody in here with Michigan ties, and they hire Brady Hoke, who had been there and was a legendary figure as a defense coordinator. That didn't work. Then the answer to all Michigan problems from the NFL, our guy, number 4, played for Bo, played in the NFL for Mike Ditka. If that doesn't work, what if it's just not workable at Michigan, Bill?
No, that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I don't think they're going to get rid of Harbaugh anytime soon. I think they're just going to persevere through it. I mean, you slapped some Iowa uniforms on that game last week. Nobody's overreacting to Kirk Ferentz losing that game.
Nope.
They're not. And it's because it's Michigan. It's because it's Bo. It's because, and as I wrote, I mean, kind of fitting, this week is the 25th anniversary of the miracle at Michigan on Cordell Stewart's throw. But if you go back and look at the 90s, Michigan won big games in the 90s. They won national title in 97. They won big games.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped winning big games they're 1-16 this decade against top 10 teams. That's not all on Harbaugh. They're 7-27 against the top 10 since 2000. That's not all on Jim Harbaugh. I think it's a program-wide thing, because that's the difference between them and Ohio State. Ohio State wins the big games. Michigan doesn't.
Well, we could kind of say the same thing about Wisconsin. Wisconsin wins a lot of games and then usually loses the big games. They didn't this year. And we'll see how they fare. Here's a game I got to ask you about, was the Washington State-UCLA game, because it's one of the greatest comebacks in all time by a guy that has been nothing short of ripped by everybody, Chip Kelly, and Mike Leach. And on the front end, I'll say I'm a Mike Leach guy because I think he's really interesting, and I love the guy that really taught him that air raid offense in Hell Mummy. But man, they giving up that game. Now they're underdogs against Utah, which is a good team, and a lot of people had thought would be a team that could win the Pac-12 at the beginning of the year. But what a fall for Mike Leach. What does that do to this program? Are we just going to write that off now?
Again, it's the Pac-12 where there's not a dominant team. So Cal's the only unbeaten left. Now Washington State, if they lose to Utah, they're out. But that's the difference between expectations at Washington State and a place like Michigan. Nobody's making a big deal about them losing that game. The only program they make a big deal about out there losing is USC. And that'll happen if they lose to Washington on the road, where they're 9-point dogs. So I think that's just part of the territory. But yeah, I mean, the Pac-12 is an entertaining conference. There's just not a dominant team in it. Like Arizona State could beat Cal this weekend. Utah could beat Washington State. USC could beat Washington. I still think Oregon's the best team in that conference, and they're on bye week. They play Cal next week. Watch them go beat Cal by 20 next week.
And Bill, sometimes it just happens to really great programs that there's no magic coach. Even when you think, our guy and the perfect press conference. Look, I saw it happen. Dave, you saw it happen right after you came to this market in the early 80s. And I know to a lot of people, they don't remember this time, and it seems like a long time ago. But we saw coach after coach hire Dave at Ole Miss. This guy was going to be Mr. Perfect. Ken Cooper, defensive guy. That's what we need. Didn't work. Steve Sloan, hottest young coach out there. Didn't work. We'll get, Billy Brewer, an Ole Miss guy. He did work for a long time. And then after that ended, the cruel cycle started. The cruel cycle has started at Nebraska. The cruel cycle has started at Tennessee. It has started at Arkansas. For a long time, it was going on at LSU, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have the right – I mean, Nebraska, they're playing a big game on Saturday. They're 17-point dogs.
At home.
At home, at Memorial Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of something we've been discussing at Sporting News this week. And this is you guys are down – you're below that Mason-Dixon line. But above the Mason-Dixon line, currently, there's one superpower. It's Ohio State.
That's it.
Notre Dame, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, they're not on that level. They're not on that level from a recruiting standpoint. They're not on that level from the big game standpoint. They're not on that level, I think, from a player development standpoint. I mean, look at Chase Young from when he got to Ohio State versus now. He looks like he fell out of a Marvel comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the best at it. And I think that's something – they're the only one that can – they're the only school that can actually compete year in and year out with all those SEC juggernauts down there that you got in the top 10. Like, Ohio State could beat Auburn. Ohio State, I think
could
Ohio
beat
State
Alabama.
can run with. I think Ohio State can run with Alabama
I do
and
too.
Georgia right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd win, but I think they can run with them.
And in this stretch of college football, they've been right there with them, and when they ran into each other, they beat them.
I mean, they beat Alabama. I can't remember the last. I think they played Georgia in the early '90s in a bowl game. I just vaguely remember Garrison Hurst playing against Ohio State.
Yeah,
so I'll have to go back
and Tennessee got them in 1 year with Peyton. They beat Eddie George and Joe Germain.
That was the Jay Graham ball game. I remember that one.
Yeah.
So, Ohio State can play with those guys. Notre Dame played with Georgia last week.
Sure did.
They just didn't win.
Yeah.
They didn't have – but the difference in that game was Jake Fromm stepped up in the second half, and Ian Book was pretty ordinary.
Are you concerned at all about Trevor Lawrence, or is he just kind of roped open us till it really matters?
I think their biggest battle is going to be against themselves and getting complacent and getting sloppy. And you know what? Clemson's defense has been impressive early in the season. They're a little bit better on D than I thought they'd be.
They are.
And,
I think your comments about the Mason-Dixon line are very interesting to me. Growing up in the Chicago area, and that's where I cut my chops with college football. I think at this point Notre Dame could play with big boys, and then I think they showed that going on the road and staying a lot closer with Notre Dame than I thought. I think you're shortchanging Wisconsin a little bit. Michigan's a big disappointment. I would agree with you about that. Schools like Purdue, they never were. Michigan State was a powerhouse that hasn't been in a long time. Penn State is a team that I think can most of the time play with those guys.
They lost to Kentucky last year.
I mean, here's my point, though. Okay, you listed all of those schools. Ohio State won one in 12, 14, and 02. So 14 and 02. Michigan won their last one in 97. Notre Dame's 88. That's plus 30 years. Penn State's 86, and Wisconsin hasn't been near one.
Yeah.
Nebraska's 97, too. I mean, none of these programs have been – I'm sorry, none of them have been close. Remember when Nebraska played Miami in the title game, how far apart those two teams were?
Yeah. Even up there, West Virginia's had good teams, but Syracuse has receded. But it has been dominated, I think, in that neck of the woods by Ohio State. Bill, we got to go. Have a good weekend. What game are you going to this weekend?
I'm home, but it breaks my heart to say that, guys. I'm an Ohio boy from the Rust Belt, but I'm home. I'll talk to you guys next week. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, Bill.
Enjoy the night.
Bill, watch our game tonight because the Packers game, Philly's going to end that early. Don't worry about that.
Oh, hey.
We'll see about that. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Bill. Bill Bender from the Sporting News with us, and he is a proud Ohio native. In fact, was tweeting some beautiful Ohio sunsets earlier this week, Dave.
That was good stuff. Your comment, and remind me to talk about that with you next week, about the vicious cycle. I think the vicious cycle all began when the dollars got big and the pressure really mounted, and presidents felt like they had to keep boosters a lot more happy because the money became so darn big.
I'm telling you, watching that Iowa State-Iowa game day, I'm not kidding you. It really struck me just how smart both of them, with much more limited I don't know if it's resources, but they're more limited than most of the fat and happy SEC places. They really feel like they know who they are. I talked about Wisconsin. They really know who they are. Let's don't change coaches every 2 seconds. Let's don't let the boosters walk in and go, we're mad over, running this play. Let's change coaches. And it feels like the vicious cycle teams that I named, and a lot of them in this area, Tennessee new to that. That was not them for so long. If the coach parts his hair different, let's fire him.
I'll let you know this portion of the show brought to you by Edwin Watson. The 2019 fall arrivals are here, and I want you to check out the strikingly new T-Series irons from Titleist featuring the T100 iron. That's designed as a player's iron for precise performance. Then there's the T200 iron. That's for added distance. And then there's the 300 iron, the complete game improvement iron for all. all pure Titleists, and they'll find the right one for you. You get a free custom fitting if you go to Edwin Watts today. Don't forget they are going to be moving. There's always something going on, but they'll be moving to I-40 and Poplar Avenue. You still got a couple more weeks. Walk through the door. Tell them we sent you. There's always somebody you will know. There's always somebody great to kibitz. There's always something to learn about. Of course, all the latest equipment, including those Titleists, at Edwin Watts Golf. So you said watch Brady. Here's a little barometer test for all tonight.
Okay.
Watch time of possession. We talked a bit about that yesterday, where Memphis in that one game had the ball in the first quarter for one series, scored, and had the ball for one series in the third quarter and scored, but they did not have the ball enough. In that game, I believe the time of possession was 43 minutes to 17 minutes. Memphis is making a point of sustaining drives. You got to score. It's not like you don't want explosive plays, but you do want to keep the ball away from their offense because they're going to keep it forever. I think time of possession is going to be critical tonight.
I agree. And you mentioned you got to finish. You got to finish with something. Because, Dave, when you enter that red zone, you've got 3 scoring options. 7, that's ideal, isn't it? 3, okay, or goose egg. And if you goose egg it too many times, if you swing and miss against Navy,
right,
they make you pay.
Well, I got to tell you something. Most of the both these teams, I should say, they have really done a good job of getting points in the red zone most of the time. TD. Speaking of which, did you see the deodorant company Secret? They did an ad. Have you seen the ad?
I did not. I don't think I have.
You got to check this out. It was a billboard in Tampa they took out. It is a picture of Carly Lloyd when she hit the 55-yard field goal in Philly at their camp. And this one is basically poking fun at poor kicker Matt Gay, who missed that 34-yard field goal against the Giants to lose the game. And they're basically saying, hey, women are tough. You should consider Carly Lloyd. It's a great little ad.
That's a good one. Dave, you have a good one tonight and get a win, and I know you'll be in here tomorrow. I'm going to be away tomorrow, but you'll be back tomorrow, and y'all have a fun Friday, and you have a fun Thursday night. Thank you, man.
I know you're going to really enjoy your annual or semi-annual trip with Alabama. I want you to be safe. I look forward to talking to you on Monday, and I'll let everybody know this portion of the show. Also brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai and Olive Branch, home of assurance, the greatest marriage in my mind between technology and service and the product. Well, that's what you get assured with every Hyundai product. From my Santa Fe to the Elantra, the Veloster, it could be the G cars. Yeah. You can get a G70 Genesis car. It looks like it's out of a James Bond movie. Every one of those gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And then there's the shopper assurance you get from Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. All you got to do is get on the road. Get on Highway 78. It's really Lamar in Memphis. When you get to Craft Road is the very first exit in Mississippi close. You turn left, and you'll see the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. I'll see all of you at the Liberty Bowl tonight.
You got it, Dave. Have a good one. This is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Family Leisure has the world's biggest spa sale going on now. Over 50 spas in stock and ready to sell. $8,000 spas now just $44.99. 4-person spas starting at $24.99. Swim spas from $89.99. Huge discounts on all spas. Get the lowest prices of the year with special financing available. It's the world's biggest spa sale happening now at Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's Summer Savings Event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
Your trusted source for pool supplies and end-of-season pool closings is Mario's Pool Supplies in Germantown, Tennessee. As the pool season crawls to an end, let Mario close your pool for the winter and secure it with a new safety cover to protect your children and pets over the winter. The 2019 People's Choice Award winner for pool supplies and service, Mario's Pool Supplies, 1986 Exeter Road in Germantown, Tennessee, is your one-stop shop for everything pools. Call 901-552-3399 or stop in and talk to Mario today.
At CDW, we get modern servers need to be flexible,
scalable, and predictable. I predicted you'd say that.
Okay, what will I say next?
Probably something about server security.
Impressive and freaky. CDW can implement secure Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gen 10 servers that improve speed and performance while reducing
costs. See, predictable.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it.
I predict a web address.
CDW.com/HPE.
I'm in your mind, man.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week on the show, Dan Bartow will be in studio with John and I as we recap the Thursday night matchup against the Navy Midshipmen and look down the road at Louisiana Monroe.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Mr. Announcer Man, you could not be more right. It is indeed the hour for Lexus. First hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis. 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833, Lexus of Memphis. Offering the Golden Opportunity Fall Sales Event. Tonight will feel great out at the stadium. Great offers on all 2019 models, and the 2020s are rolling in, about to take over, and always special lease options at Lexus of Memphis. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 or 2020 flagship LS500. A few remaining 2019s, mostly 2020s, LS500s, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the high standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis. What's the fine? The fine for how badly I butchered Ken Niumatalolo's name?
I'll charge you $2.
Did you catch how?
It was really bad.
The butchery of it in that first segment with Dave.
I did catch it.
I got so far into it and knew it was so bad, I had the good sense just to get out.
You did kind of stop right at the second low, or the first low in Niumatalolo.
I got like 3 low lows in. I think I got low in. I mean, it was a lot of lows in there. And listen to the Navy announcer today. Man, his familiarity with it, a number of times he's had to say it, he just rolls right through it. He says it like good morning.
Unless you say it a lot or you really, really practice it like I have, you will mess up. It's Ken Niumatalolo.
Yeah, it's a little like Giannis in the NBA. You got to let it roll.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, that's very.
Even if you're wrong, you just got to say it like you're right.
Very good. So tonight, look, we're going to have a nice night to go to football. If you're thinking about going to football right now, you've been waiting to see what the weather forecast is going to be like, get out there tonight. It's going to be a fantastic. I know a lot of people. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 high school games, a smattering of junior high games, and some youth football. But if you want to go see a big time matchup tonight at a very affordable cost for a ticket and have a fun night, tonight is the night to do it. I don't want to do too much about the crowd tonight, and I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but I fear that it's not going to be what we thought. And at some point, doesn't Mike Norvell have to think, what more do I have to do?
Yeah, at some point you do, but I just don't know what else can be done to get the crowds to where we're looking at sellouts or close to sellouts each and every home game every year, other than...
Hey, what about just 47 plus?
I don't even know if you can...
Never mind 58.
I don't know if you can realistically expect that every single
we
game,
know
unless conference expansion comes up and then you start getting better conference opponents in there, then maybe we can start to see that uptick. But I think we've kind of, I don't want to say we've hit our ceiling, but we're getting really close to it with the teams that we're playing.
And during a magical time, I know it would be very easy to text at 67129 at the First Bank text line. Well, yeah, but Tennessee's going through it. Well, yeah, but Arkansas is going through it. Yeah, but Ole Miss is going through it. And all three are. All three are sparse. A lot of places have said it, those. But they're not going through it during their best time period ever. During their best time period ever at all those places, they were expanding the stadium. Maybe too much, and maybe it was a little auspicious. Even at Tennessee. I think we have seen the last stadium expansion in the SEC ever. I don't think anybody will ever have the crush again of, I think we need to add 10 more. We need to add 7,500 more seats. Anywhere, not a place. Not a single place in the SEC will there ever be the construction crane for that. In fact, I think you'll see the construction crane for reduction. And it will all be couched in, we're going to make the fan experience better. No, you're going to reduce the stadium because you're tired of seeing that number of empty seats, and I don't blame you. That's what they're going to do. But tonight, if you want to go to football and see a really good game between two good teams and a good hometown team, tonight's the night to do it. Because after this blast furnace we've had really since the end of August, since football season started, it has abated, and tonight will be the nicest night we've had in a long time. When we come back, we will go out to the Liberty Bowl Stadium and visit with Greg Gaston and talk with him about the game tonight. He'll be on the sidelines for all the action tonight for the Tigers Radio Network. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Campbell Clinic now offers daytime walk-in care, and you don't need an appointment. If you've got any kind of urgent break, sprain, strain, you can walk into any of their 5 convenient locations Monday through Friday from 8 until 4. There's no long wait you have to put up with the ER, and those doctors are really good, but they're not orthopedists. They're not world-renowned orthopedists who have come up with different procedures and written the manuals for them that are used everywhere in the world, and I'm not kidding you. And you can now see those doctors who treat the Tigers, the Grizzlies, the Redbirds. You can see them today without an appointment. And I'm talking Collierville, Germantown, South Haven, downtown at the Med Center, or even the Campbell Clinic Spine Center in Cordova. Now, if you've got something pressing, you got to go to work, and you can bear the pain until the evening, there's Campbell Clinic After Hours. That's Monday through Thursday from 5 to 8 in Germantown, South Haven, even Saturday morning in Germantown. If you're injured, don't wait. Visit Campbell Clinic Walk-In Care or Campbell Clinic After Hours.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Get your gun, Nellie, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 500 in stock. Branch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone, and remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help you put one of your brand on these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
125 seasons of Ole Miss football.
Caught by Deuce, he may go.
Dexter breaks a tackle.
Mike Wallace between 2 defenders.
The tradition continues.
He's to the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Breaks a tackle. He's gone down the sideline. Touchdown, Ole Miss. He is a beast.
Saturday, Ole Miss takes on Alabama. Pre-game coverage starts at 12:30 with kickoff at 2:30 right here on your home for the Rebels.
Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you very much, Drew Barrett. Hour 2 begins now with going out to the Liberty Bowl Stadium and visiting with Greg Gaston. Greg will be on the sidelines tonight for all the coverage with the Tigers and the big game tonight against Navy, undefeated against undefeated. And Greg, I can tell you, as just a consumer, it was fantastic to hear you and Eli today with Pete Medhurst, the voice of the Naval Academy, and with you guys for a full hour just letting it rip. Really, really good radio. And his analysis of the AAC going forward with 11 teams just made too much sense. It was really good. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for joining me now.
Oh, as always, it's my pleasure, Brett. Thank you very much for the compliments. Look, I've known Pete for a long, long time, and he does an outstanding job in everything he does. He does a ton of things in Washington, D.C., but obviously his main job is the voice of the Naval Academy. And, of course, his knowledge of the conference and really of college football in general is pretty darn strong. So it was great to have him on and in studio.
And tonight at the Liberty Bowl, we've talked about it really since both teams having the open date last week, preparing for this short week. First of all, the Tigers have been really good in short weeks, and for the Naval Academy, very much a disruption for everybody, but for them with their academics and yesterday and today and into the night tonight. But they will play football tonight at the Liberty Bowl, and we know one thing: Navy's not going to come out running 5 wide receivers, are they?
No, you kind of know what to expect from Navy, although as Kendi Amatalolo visited with us earlier in the week, they feel that there's going to be some opportunities to throw it a little bit more than they usually do. We'll see if that's the case. They haven't shown that a lot in the first 2 games. But as far as their offense, they run the triple option. We know there'll be a lot of Malcolm Perry. And they basically say, listen, this is what we do. There's no secret. There's not going to be any gimmicks here. Try to stop us.
It's pretty matter of fact with them. I'll tell you one really fun thing about a Navy game. It usually goes pretty fast.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part about it when you play Navy and you're Memphis or any team that has a high-octane offense. Because if you give the ball up either on a turnover or a punt, you may be waiting 8-9 minutes of playing time before you get that ball back, and it is frustrating on that sideline, waiting with bated breath to get back out there with the offense. So you have to take advantage of every time you have the football, because a lot of times, in fact, most of the times, you're going to lose the time of possession battle.
You just cannot have any really empty at-bats. You got to make something happen. And then if you set that long time, this is kind of the vicious cycle that academy football, service academy football, and Navy and option running-oriented football that they drag you into. Then you set a long time, and then you feel the need to, hurry up and catch up, and you look up maybe 3 and out or 4, 5, 6 and out, a quick punt situation, and you're right back in. They've dragged you into that kind of 4-corner game of basketball. Dean Smith would be envious of this with Phil Ford running the point.
Yeah, the 4 quarters going on tonight with the Naval Academy. But no, you're right. It goes back to what I just said, and you know it. It's frustrating your opponent. Have your opponent do something that's uncharacteristic. As you said, maybe you start to rush a little bit on offense because you're down 7-0 and 10 minutes is off the time. So you have to make sure that you stick to your game plan no matter what's happening with Navy. But again, they will take advantage of it if you turn the ball over. We've seen that in the past in this short history between the Tigers and Navy.
And, you look at who Navy's defeated, and Pete was very candid about that. Holy Cross on opening day, they blasted them, and then East Carolina last week. Gordy Lockbaum's not walking through that door, Greg.
I was going to bring him up the other day on the radio, and I said, you know what? Nobody will know who I'm talking about except for Stats.
There you go. Any mention of Holy Cross football, he's got to be brought up. And any mention of Holy Cross basketball, we have to bring up Bob Cousy.
You got me on that.
Bob Cousy.
Oh, Cousy went to Holy Cross. That's right.
They won the national championship with him.
Yeah, that's a little misleading, I think. But gosh, he was an unbelievable player. But yeah, Holy Cross may have done a little bit more for the hoops back in the day than football. Yeah. But Gordy Lockbaum's a great blast from the past.
And Greg, this is just the most master of the obvious comment, but I think it really fits against Navy as we've dissected this game and we've talked, and it's a big one, and it's big for the Tigers to end this September undefeated, to then dream that dream of undefeated. But against Navy, maybe more than anyone that the Tigers will ever face in their realm, boy, it's really important to play it from ahead, not to be in that kind of rat race catching up.
Ken Niumatalolo is in his 12th year at Navy, is tremendous getting out in front. His record is very impressive when the team grabs a lead. So, yes, it's critical. And your Memphis, with that offense, I would imagine they win the toss, they're going to want the ball. They're going to want to go right down there and try to shove it down their throats and score a touchdown early, get points on the board first, because you're right. When Navy gets a lead, they're pretty strong. And here's the other thing. You just made this point about the importance of this game. Think about it for several reasons. Not only is it now a conference game, but it's a divisional game. You lose, and all of a sudden you're basically 2 games out. You have the national limelight tonight to yourself. So you want to put your best foot forward. You want the stadium to look good, the crowd to be great, and your team to perform up to snuff. So it's very important because a lot of eyes will be on the team. The other thing is that here we are getting ready for the start of basketball season. You could ill afford a loss, because if you lose the game, then people may get, okay, they lost you. The dreams of the New Year's Six, the Cotton Bowl thing, that may be over. We got the hoops coming up here. If you win, though, everything's still on the table. That's why I think this is an extremely important game, although it's only the first conference game. But I think it's even more important for Memphis than it is for Navy.
And it's the last home game for a while. Next home game will be the third playing Saturday in October. 2 games after this one tonight, both on the road at Louisiana Monroe, down in Monroe next weekend, and then in Philly. Well, what a contrast of opposing sites, Monroe, Louisiana to Philadelphia, with the Tigers playing Lou Monroe and the Temple Owls, and then back at home against Tulane. And I think a win tonight would come back home undefeated and just more fuel for the fire and for the air of good feeling around town, around Tigers athletics.
Well, look, you have an opportunity. That's all you can ask for is an opportunity. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, certainly not at Temple. We'll see about Louisiana Monroe. But you lose tonight and forget about the undefeated season and the pipe dreams of that. So, one game at a time. And what Mike Norvell and his staff have done since he's been here now in his 4th year is really done a good job of not looking ahead and not worried about looking. If they are coming off a loss, they usually bounce back from it because they're not sitting there soured by what happened the prior week if it was a defeat. So they're really good, really staying in the moment, staying in their lane, knowing that this is an extremely important game and not worried about what's to possibly come down the road.
I've said my top story of the day, and it's not to put undue pressure on anyone. It's not anything I don't think he's capable of. Tonight is not the night for Brady White to have the workmanlike, efficient steward of the game. Tonight's the night, I think, for Brady to light it up, to pass for 3 bills, to have that 26 of 35 night, no interceptions, and really work a Navy defense.
They lost last year, as you know, in a crazy game, and Pete Medhurst was saying today he still doesn't understand how Navy won that game. But it was a game in which Darrell Henderson ran wild, and Brady White was pretty pedestrian. I think you're absolutely right. There is no more Henderson. There is no more Pollard. I think Kenneth Gainwell has done a nice job. But you're going to have to throw the ball against this Navy defense, and you should be able to throw the ball against this Navy defense. Some of these skill position players that the Tigers have are just quality athletes. Use them to your advantage. So Brady does need a much better game than the game he had last year. And I think you're right, Brett. For him to go out there, throw it around the field, they're certainly going to try to establish the run and be a balanced offense. But I think it's going to be important for him to play really well for the Tigers to come away with a W.
I know most coaches really, their pregame goals offensively, they aspire to have that balance. I don't know if it's that necessary tonight. And I love the rushing statistic, and it's usually a great marker of who's going to win. But tonight, with the quality of athletes, the University of Memphis, that they have on Navy, on the Navy secondary, I think they got to really exploit them, and that's one thing to be watching. After Kenneth Gainwell tonight, who's the next running back up, and who would be the next one up after the next guy up?
Well, Kylan Watkins, I think, has established himself right now as the running back behind Gainwell while Patrick Taylor is out. After that, I guess it all depends on the situation, but I would say in the red zone, the freshman Rodriguez-Clark is getting some playing time. He's getting some totes, and Timothy Taylor, the kid from East, who's been now with the program a couple of years, is also a possibility. But I would say that Watkins would be the answer to that question.
And how much running do you think somebody other than Kenneth Gainwell will get? How many carries for somebody potentially?
Well, they'll spell him a little bit, but I would imagine it's not going to be that much unless the game gets out of hand one way or the other. Then all bets are off as far as that's concerned. But I think what you said in your evaluation of what they need to do with the passing game, I think it's spot on. Yes, they will try to establish the run because they always do that.
That's just football.
Always are going to want to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's very important, and you're showcasing. Wow, this offense is still potent like it's been the last few years. You're watching in San Diego the college football game. You're up in Seattle. You're watching this game. You're going, well, look at this Memphis team. Look at this quarterback throwing it around the field. Plus, it puts something in the minds of all the other coaches that the Tigers will face on their schedule that yes, this kid can throw down the field, throw accurately, and take over a game. So I'm with you on that.
And I'm so glad the Tigers are not having to anymore. Look, it's just the hand that was dealt for a few years, and you had to do it. But the Tuesday night games, and don't want to do too many Thursday nights, but this is made for a fun run-up with the open dates last week and then this week, both of them undefeated. And I think most people, even hardcore, very spirited fans, you don't even have sports hatred for the Naval Academy. You want to beat them, but you do respect what they're doing, and I think you always do. And the Tiger fans always show it. You'll feel that respect in the stadium tonight, but the stage, it's all Tigers and Navy in the college world. Now the NFL game, it is on Fox and on the NFL Network, but that's kind of its own audience and its own supernova. It is all about Memphis tonight, and Greg, that feels good. And I know in your time here, there have been a lot of nights that it hadn't been that way, and a lot of hard work has been done and a lot of accomplishment to get to this point.
Man, a lot of people involved also to put them where they are now. And while there's still strides that need to be made, they're just moving in the positive trajectory. They're moving up. And, yeah, I think it's still important to showcase your product every once in a while. I'm with you. You don't want to see what we saw back in Conference USA or other times where you're playing a Tuesday game and then there's that Thursday game and you got a Friday game on the schedule, because that's not where we are here. But Memphis once a year on a Thursday or a Friday night, I know they got a couple this year, but to showcase their program for the country, I think is extremely important. But you wish you got a little extra pop financially for doing those games during the week, right?
Yeah, it's just part of the deal, but it is a good part. And having the stage to itself tonight with Navy, I think makes it a lot of fun. We will be listening to you tonight and listen again tomorrow on Middays with you and Eli. Just love today and love the visit with Pete, and appreciate you so much, Greg. I know you've got things you've got to do tonight, but I'm glad you reschedule with us and we could have you on today.
It's always great to catch up with you, Brett. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Greg Gaston from Middays right here on this radio station tonight on the Tiger Radio Network. On the sidelines, you'll see him on the Jumbotron as well tonight as the Tigers go for 4-0. And a great night for football. Hope there's a big crowd out there tonight for the Tigers and Navy. Then after tonight, on the road, the next 2 weeks, as I said with Greg, at Lou Monroe and at Temple, and then not back home until October 19th. I had the Tigers with one loss to this point. I was wrong on opening day. They won, I think, fairly comfortably on opening day. I know the margin was 5, but it felt a lot more significant than that. and then Southern in week 2, and then the third game, a real trouncing against South Alabama, when a lot of people were thinking, okay, well, let's see what they can really do. They were a 18-point favorite. I think I picked the Tigers to win that day when we did picks, but I think only by 17 or so. It was easy. They named the score, and that's a South Alabama team that was pretty competitive with Nebraska. So now this is the next test tonight to end a September. Next time the Tigers play at home, will they be undefeated? How hard one for you?
I'm going to say yes.
Me too.
I'm going to say yes. And looking at the remainder of the schedule, I think the one thing that most of us were completely wrong about was where the hardest stretch of the season was going to be. We all thought that Murderers Row was going to come at the end of the season at Houston, at South Florida, and then at home the day after Thanksgiving against Cincinnati. Murderers Row now looks to be Tulane, Tulsa, SMU.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. I never thought that those three might be the hardest 3 games you have in a row, but looking at the season now, Houston's quit, South Florida's not any good, and Cincinnati's beatable.
Very beatable. And SMU could be undefeated when they come to Memphis. You know, we're talking about opening day and Ole Miss, and that always moves a lot of needles for sure. And even this game tonight, but the biggest game of the year, it could end up being SMU on November 2nd because both could be undefeated for then, and Sonny Dykes will be really getting the attention. He's getting the good side of coaching attention that Charlie Strong is getting the negative side. I thought the East would be much better than the West. It hadn't been. I don't think it will be. Wrong on that. And I had South Florida coming out of the East, and they're not. It's not going to be even close on that.
No, I think one reason why we thought that the East was going to be way better than the West is when we looked at the beginning of the season, we saw what we thought were 3 great teams in the East, where we only thought there would probably be only 2 in the West. We thought that the separation between Memphis and Houston, and then Tulsa, SMU, and Tulane and Navy was going to be almost night and day, and the East was going to be Cincy, South Florida, and Central Florida in somewhat of a shootout at the end of the year, and it's just completely backwards.
It is backwards. In Houston, you know, they're kind of giving up. They're waving the white flag on this year.
They've definitely given up.
Seems allowed by the coach.
And I don't know how that's going to go over. I don't think it's going to go over very well, especially, I mean, yeah, you have one senior who's claiming that he's going to be back next year, saying he's sitting out for whatever reason, and that he's going to be back at Houston next year. But for the rest of the seniors, I
don't anticipate his return.
I mean, how would you feel if you're one of the other seniors that you're reading all this, you're seeing all this, and you're basically saying, okay, so he can take off and stay for his last season.
You
so
can mothball him, but yeah, I got to go to practice tomorrow.
I got to go to practice, and I don't have a red shirt to burn. This is my last year. These are my last 9 or 8 games left. Like, what about me?
Almost either answer is very destructive to a locker room. If it's the rest of the locker room, every man for himself, he can do what he wants. I don't really care. How many games do you think you're going to win with that attitude?
0.
All right. Then if it's, fine. You know, program next year, we're taking the long view. Yeah, but what about this year? What about right now, this week, as Houston sits 1-3, and they play tomorrow. They play tomorrow night, don't they? No, they play the 28th. Is that right, against North Texas?
Yes, that's Saturday.
No, that's not Saturday.
The 28th is Saturday.
Saturday is 20. Yeah, they play Saturday at North Texas. North Texas can beat them. Mason Fine's a really good player.
They can beat them. And with how much turmoil we think is in that locker room and basically giving up on the season, there's no reason they shouldn't.
And then Houston has an open date after that. The whole team could quit by then.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, what's keeping them there?
And
if he's not committed to us
Dana
and the school's not committed to us, then why are we committed to them?
For big money. But, yeah, it's at North Texas on Saturday, no less. Not the start we thought out of Houston. And, nobody was surprised on opening day or the first game for them when they got beat pretty handily by Oklahoma. And no embarrassment with that either. Nobody's, no disdain for that loss by any means. But then to have this mass insurrection, You've had it a little bit at Tennessee. I said there would be others. You've had a lot of players quit at Tennessee this week.
5 total now have left the program.
You know, in almost every one of those stories, it goes to some length to say not recruited by Jeremy Pruitt. Well, fine, but he has been there 2 years. And he's got the rest of this year to try to save his job.
Yeah, I don't really get – I get the reason why they put it there. They're like, oh, well, they're trying to throw off that – give that impression that, oh, well, he's not one of the Pruitt guys. He was brought in by the previous regime, but he's been there.
Or the Pruitt guys. What have they done?
Exactly. I mean, he's been there for 2 years. He hasn't been able to turn the guy's opinion around yet. I mean,
and I was wrong. I missed badly on Jeremy Pruitt. I thought it was a great hire. I thought he was going to be the Saban assistant better than any because of his recruiting abilities and his defensive prowess and background. He would have to I did say he would have to find him a really reliable offensive guy and not make the mistake another Saban protege made that Will Muschamp made at Florida in getting the wrong offensive guy in the beginning, and that was Charlie Weiss. That was super offensive guy. That was bold, can't go wrong hire. Charlie Weiss running Will Muschamp's offense at Florida. What could go wrong there? Everything. And that stunted the growth of Will Muschamp as a head coach that lingers to this day. When that defensive guy doesn't start out well with an offensive guy, they don't trust anybody from that point on. Because most of the defensive guys, and I guess you could say the same about offense, but I think historically, from my perspective, what I've seen, most defensive guys really know one thing about offense, how to stop one. And they leave it to an offensive guy to do your thing. Nick Saban even did that as a young coach coming up, and and then mastered every aspect of the coaching ability and the coaching deal. But for a young coach, and you just have that first shot at the first impression, and Jeremy Pruitt's lost that.
He really has. Quick, hard one for you, since you threw one at me. With the coaching carousel that's been at Tennessee the last decade, is it making the wrong hires, or is Tennessee just not a winning program?
Well, the first thing leads to the second one, and then it becomes more years.
But I
year
mean,
over year.
How long until you finally get it right? I mean, we're starting to see this. We're starting to see this. The Tennessee image go from feels like '98 to, are we ever going to win a game again?
Now, a long time ago, I'm not going to say that I never thought Lane Kiffin would work. I don't know if he stayed there long enough to make it work. There are plenty that argue if he had, and and he's saying now that he regrets it and everything would have been fine. I don't know about that either, but I don't think it would have been this cycle they would have gotten on. I didn't have a lot of confidence in the Derek Dooley hire. I know he was waiting for that great spot in the SEC to land. I even thought in the fall of 2007 that if Ed Orgeron didn't make it at Ole Miss, that Derek Dooley would be primed for that spot. And then the next year, I know Mississippi State, they were interested in him, and he kind of passed. He was waiting for real or perceived, right or wrong, something he thought was better than SEC, and he got Tennessee, and it did not work at all. Then I thought Butch Jones, with the way he started, and then had the bowl success, they beat Iowa, looked like he was on his way, and the night that it ended for Butch Jones was garbage can night in a win on national TV against Georgia Tech. It's one thing for people to laugh with you. It was another for them to laugh at you.
And everyone was laughing
and
at
people
them.
were laughing. And that's not what Tennessee football is all about. Historically, the long march of history, they hadn't had to endure that, and they did. He was done from that point on because their fans sensed it. We're a joke, and you don't want to be that.
No, you definitely don't. But how many more bad hires in a row can Tennessee afford to make until it started to look at as a school that was, they were good then, but I don't know if they'll ever be good again. I mean, how many more bad hires?
I think into the next guy you would be approaching that territory, wouldn't you? Look, it's over. We will be happy going 7-5, and I know Tennessee fans right now go, no, we will never take that. It can humble you. It can do it to you. I've seen it done to people, and a lot of them in our area, a lot of the schools that we talk about every day have either had to go through that, thought they may have gotten out of it, and may have to be going through it again. Look, Ole Miss and Arkansas are facing their challenges. They just are. In the SEC West, where Arkansas and Ole Miss reside, both are thinking, let's just try to get our stuff together to be positioned properly to whatever happens post Nick Saban. When he moves on and Alabama has to recede a little, doesn't it?
You would think, but who knows?
Gene Stallings had his success, but it was not right. He was not the coach right after Coach Bryant. Ray Perkins had good teams, but they came down. They just did, and then got bad and cycled through a lot of coaches and didn't feel like it would ever happen again, and then they go on this Saban tsunami. So you're going to have to get your stuff together, get your act together, be positioned for that opportunity post this Saban dynasty, this Bama dynasty. And I thought Matt Luke was right on, and it's exactly what I'm going to say, kind of be my theme pregame Saturday about the goals for Saturday. His goal is to be competitive in the second half and see what happens. If the head coach can say that, the radio guy sure can.
Yeah, you surely can say it.
And I think that is both realistic and a good goal because it has not been competitive really after the first quarter the last 2 years. You know what that combined score total the last 2 years, Bama and Ole Miss, has been? 128-10. And last year after the first play, it was all over. And 2 years ago, it never even started, 66-3 down there. We break when we come back. Russell Copeland to talk the NFL. No, Russell's headed over to the game. We'll talk some Tigers with him as well at 5 o'clock. Back to the Tigers in Navy with Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal and some conversation about the Tiger men's basketball schedule that was released last Friday. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. We have exciting news. All premium members of ATC Fitness now have access to our newly added Hydro Massage Lounges. That's right, for only $25 a month, you'll have access to all 18 state-of-the-art facilities, access to tanning, and now access to the best massage unit on the market. Come in today and relax with a free demo. You deserve it. Don't forget, you can also sign up online. ATCFitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
How you doing, people? And if it's a Chevy you're looking for, any new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you need to go. New 2020 Silverados and Blazers are at All-Star Chevrolet, ready for you to drive today. Traverse, Equinox, Impala, best new All-Star Chevy lineup ever. And most have 0 for 72 financing. So give these Chevys a test run. Roll the windows down. Enjoy the weather. Crank the music up. Pretend like the car is going to be yours, because it is going to be yours. And best of all, All-Star has the ABCs. A, the All-Star Challenge. Take any written offer from any Mid-South auto dealer to All-Star Chevrolet, and you can get a better deal, new or pre-owned, or they buy you a tank of gas. B, best buying experience, period. No wasting your time. They make it easy. And C, customer care. You're all in. Loaner cars, free oil changes. It's the All-Star family, and they're going to treat you like that. It's not South Haven, not the Pike, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet or go to allstarautogroup.com.
At CDW, we get modern servers need to be
Flexible, scalable, and predictable. I predicted you'd say that.
Okay, what will I say next?
Probably something about server security.
Impressive and freaky. CDW can implement secure Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gen 10 servers that improve speed and performance while reducing
costs. See, predictable.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it.
I predict a web address.
CDW.com/HPE.
I'm in your mind, man.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave on his way to the Liberty Bowl. Call the action tonight between the hometown Tigers, undefeated, against the Naval Academy, undefeated, in a big American Athletic Conference game. We'll talk about that as well with Russell Copeland, but we sure will start with NFL with Russell, as tonight a big one for the Packers at Lambeau Field against the Eagles. Carson Wentz against Aaron Rodgers. The Packers undefeated, and it's not Aaron Rodgers driven. It's a lot of defense and other parts of play for their new young coach, the first-year coach Matt LaFleur. Aaron Rodgers off to a good start, nothing great. Russell Copeland joins us now to talk the National Football League tonight. And Russell, I know are you at the Liberty Bowl? Are you on Tiger Lane as we speak?
Well, I'll be leaving shortly. I just wanted to make sure that we had our section here and we had a chance to really, talk some NFL and talk a little bit about the Tigers before I head down.
Well, thank you.
The Liberty Bowl, but I am excited.
You should be. This will be a big one tonight for the Tigers to end the month of September undefeated as they play the Naval Academy. And we know what Navy's going to run tonight, don't we?
Definitely. Well, when you look at these two matchups, both of these football teams are very similar. They're not similar as far as the offense they run, but they're similar as far as points being scored, over 43 points a game, and also their defenses. I think that's the biggest difference when you look at the Navy Academy team, a team that only won 3 games last year, but they're coming in this year only giving up 24.5 points. And what's ironic about that, the Tigers are giving up 24.3 points a game, and they're ranked 3 nationally, and Navy is right behind them. But I think when you look at both of these football teams, their defenses will be challenged, Brett. And when I look at Navy, of course, Navy's going to run that triple option, and they want to be able to manage the clock and keep the ball away from the Tigers. And I think when Memphis has the football, I think their best defense against the Naval Academy is going to be their offense. And I mean, be able to score some points, make some big plays to get ahead, to get a good deficit, whether it's 10 points or 14 points, to make this Navy football team do something that they're not accustomed to doing, and that's passing the football.
I think a box score nugget, and it directly feeds from third down stops, converting third downs. Tonight, tell me who punts the most. The team that has to punt the most, they're going to lose. If the Tigers have to punt 6 or 7 times, they're in real trouble.
Hey, you hit it right on the head, Brad. And when you look at this Navy football team, they're the only team that has not had 3 and outs in all of college football. So when you say punt the football, that's different, because if Navy's not punting the football, what does that mean? That means they have the football, they're having the time of possession, and they're putting points on the board. I think Memphis has to be able to have a balanced offense, Brett, and be able to run and pass. But when the opportunities come to make big plays, they're going to have to be able to make some big plays down the field, throwing the football, and also some big runs. In my opinion, if Memphis can make 3 big plays, over 30 yards in this football game, 25 to 30 yards in this football game, they'll win the game. And they can't get into situations where it's 3rd and long and they have to punt the ball to Navy.
Yeah, that is just slow. That is slow death to Navy to get in 3rd and longs for sure. Tonight in the NFL, Eagles at Packers. Eagles out off to a 1-2 start. Really had to mount a pretty furious comeback opening day against Washington to get that one win. The Packers undefeated, going for the first 4-0 start for a first-year coach in Green Bay Packers history for Matt LaFleur tonight. It has not been all Aaron Rodgers this year for the Packers.
It has not been all Aaron Rodgers, and you just mentioned you have a new coach in Matt LaFleur, so I think that's a new offense, and we're talking about an offense that Aaron Rodgers has been accustomed to, the West Coast offense, for probably 12, 13 years. Now, he's changed a little bit. Now, I think it's taken some time, the ins and outs of that offense, and you saw it the first night against the Bears. But I think overall for this football team, them being 3-0 and their understanding on offense, and you do have Aaron Rodgers, I think they're sitting in a good position. But I think defensively, they've been flying around the football. They've been getting turnovers. But I think something that's been missing from this Green Bay Packers offense in the past 3 years has been running the football. They've been able to run the football and have some balance. That switches me to what the Eagles are going to have to be able to do. I think it's unfortunate that the Eagles have had so many injuries. They've been decimated by injuries. Whenever you lose Deshaun Jackson, one of the biggest deep threats in the history of the National Football, then you have Jefferson's on the other side, 2 of your big play receivers, and also some linemen. It has hurt. But I think one thing they're going to have to be able to do, they're going to have to be able to run the football as well. And their receivers have to be able to catch the football. I think it's going to be a tough game there at Green Bay. But as you mentioned before, Green Bay is not just scoring a lot of points. It's not the Aaron Rodgers that we've seen of old. I think the Eagles have an opportunity to win this game. They do have Jeffries back. I'm going to pick the upset for the Eagles so they can get back into the hunt of things going in at 1-2.
Eagles with the road upset tonight, and they will need it, because if they lost and the Cowboys went into New Orleans with Teddy Bridgewater starting in place of Drew Brees and won on Sunday night and got off to 4-0 start, they would be looking up at the Cowboys really all year, the rest of the year for Philadelphia.
They definitely will. And you just mentioned, that Dallas Cowboys football team and how important it is to be able to get for the Eagles to win this football, because it's a conference game. It's not a division game, but it's a conference game. So they need to get closer to the Cowboys. And speaking of that Cowboys game, man, that's going to be an outstanding football game. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, what they've been able to do the past 2 or 3 years, they've been up and down. But when you look at this football team now, offensively and defensively, they have a ton of talent, Brandon. And just talk about the offensive side of the football. You have Jason Witten back out of retirement. That is your go-to guy when you need him. But they have a staple of receivers. They have about 4 or 5 receivers they can go to. We know about Amari Cooper. So they're able to do that. But they can run the football with 2 good backs. You know about Ezekiel Elliott. But what about Tony Pollard?
Yeah.
Our Memphis guy has been able to get a lot of touches. And when he comes into the football game, he's fresh. So when you're looking at the defensive standpoint, you're pretty much looking at 2 running backs that are full speed the entire football game that can wear a defense out. And I think that's what's going to put pressure on the New Orleans Saints. When I look at Teddy Bridgewater, I think he's getting 2 games under his belt. I think they did a great job overall as a team to go on the road last week and win against the Seattle Seahawks. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get into a shootout with this Dallas Cowboys football team. And I'd like the Dallas Cowboys to go to New Orleans and win this football game.
Nothing quiets down controversy and chaos like winning. There have been a couple lovable, chaotic winning teams. The Bronx Zoo Yankees teams with Billy Martin kind of always agitating. Some of those Oakland A's teams with, as you mentioned last week, how much you loved Reggie Jackson, they could get into it pretty good. But the Cowboys kind of since the August Cabo drama and Jerry Jones saying Zeke who, it's amazing how winning has settled everything down. And if I'm Ezekiel Elliott, both for team oriented and selfishly, I don't mind Tony Pollard getting some carries. That's less hits on me. The money's not going down on the back end. I may get another big contract again, and the team's winning. Let the young guy get his totes.
Exactly. And I think when you look at it, when you look at a personal standpoint from Ezekiel Elliott, he has did what he has wanted to do, and that's hold out to get his money. So his money is guaranteed now. Now he has to look at his longevity. And now having a young man such as Tony Pollard to be able to come in and spare you, therefore you do not have to lead the league in carries. You do not have to lead the league in all the touches that you've been getting the past 3 years, which made you the highest paid running back in the National Football League. And I think it's outstanding. And then as for Tony Pollard, for a young rookie to be able to come in, the best thing that happened to him was the Ezekiel Elliott holdout, because he had an opportunity to come in and show his talent But not only did he show his talent, he was able to be smart in the classroom. Therefore, he was elevated to the starting running back.
Great point. He was ready for that opportunity. He was ready, Russell.
And he did great for that opportunity. And it just goes back also to the program that we have at the University of Memphis, as far as Mike Norvell getting guys prepared and ready to go play at a national level, not just from a standpoint of being able to do the X's and O's, but also from a maturity standpoint. And it takes a lot for a young man to leave after his junior year to go to the Dallas Cowboys organization, and now their biggest name, Ezekiel Elliott, is not there. You step up and you learn all the plays, and you come out here and been a big contribution to that football team. Outstanding job for Tony Pollard.
A big one this Sunday will be Dave's Bears at home at Soldier Field against the Vikings. That division's going to be a lot of fun. It feels like 3 playoff spots, 3 playoff tickets will be punched out of that. No division can punch 4. You can't get 4 out of 1, but you can get 3, and 3 from the NFC North could happen. Vikings and Bears on Sunday. The real Mitch Trubisky, was it the first 2 games or was it this last game?
I think that's the question that's pondered, and that's what everyone has to be to look at it. I think when you look at Matt Nagy coming out with the first game of the season, I think some defenses were looking at what he did last year, and the offense just wasn't on the same page. But when you look at how Mitch Trubisky and that offense came out last year, they had all facets that was going. They had special teams defense, but from an offensive standpoint, they were able to run the football. They were able to spread the football around. But for Mitch Trubisky, he was able to get outside the pocket and throw the football down the field. And I think he's going to have to continue to be able to make plays with his legs, but also throw while he's on the run, especially when you're going against a defense such as the Minnesota Vikings. I think both of these defenses, they get after the quarterback, they play relentless football, so he's going to have to protect the football, but he's going to have to make some plays with his legs and throw the football down the field. And that's the same thing with the Vikings. When you look at them, both of these teams are mirror. Kirk Cousins has not been able to win a game of a team that's over 500%. I mean, his winning percentage is probably 10 or 15%. So it's going to be a tough game for him going into Soldier Field, going against Khalil Mack and that defense. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out game. But I'm going to go with the Bears, man. I'm going to go with the Bears at home. This is one of the teams that I picked. They got to a slow start, but they're back into the hunt of it. This is a division game. They'll move closer to the Packers. And as we alluded earlier, if the Packers lose a conference game to the Eagles, that puts the Chicago Bears right back in the hunt of things, right there close to first place. I think Chicago Bears play a tough game. I think they'll be able to run the football. They'll make enough plays in the end.
Speaking of possibly just beginner's luck, the real Gardner Minshew. He had him a week last week. He had the big Thursday night, the national sensation, goes back on campus at Washington State and treated as the conquering hero as he should be. I want to remind people, Jacksonville's 1-2. That's their only win of the year last week. Now they play the winless Broncos. I ask about the real Mitch Trubisky, the real Gardner Minshew.
Well, I tell you, I love this kid. I mean, this is a young man that, transferred a couple of times, but he played football here and was one of the best, junior college quarterbacks he was when he played at Northwestern Junior College here in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So the young man can play. Yes, he's not tall in stature, but he's very smart. He plays very energetic out on the field. He runs the football when it needs to be run. He makes some tough decisions. I like what this young man is bringing to this football team, but he's still a young quarterback. Will he make mistakes? Yes, but they have a defense that's behind him. That's what you want to remind him. Like, you don't have to go out and be a Brett Favre type of quarterback this early in your career. You have a defense, and let's try to see if we can get Leonard Fournette, into the mix of things, get the running game so it can take some pressure off of you. And we do have a pretty good defense. But I love the way this young man came out and played. And he reminds me, seriously, of a Brett Favre.
He does.
Actually, how he goes out and just play. He's carefree, man. He's laughing. He's playing. He doesn't care how he dresses, man. He's like a rock and roll star, man. I love it.
He's having a good time, and that's fun for him. And you're right. And he's from Mississippi, small town Mississippi, just like Brett Favre. Brett Favre was even from smaller town Mississippi than Gardner Minshew. He played at a really high level in high school football, the highest level. But he's from Mississippi, and they all kind of want to pattern themselves after Brett Favre in that gunslinger mentality. I love watching Brett Favre play. I do not mean this as a shot. But it was said, when Favre at his apex, at the top of his career, Russell, he always kind of kept both teams in the game. He kept the Packers in the game with a big throw, and he kept the other team in the game with a big interception.
Exactly, Brett. When you look at, Brett Favre in that aspect, he's kind of like a home run hitter. He may strike out a couple of times, but then he has at any point in time, he can hit the home run. And that's what Brett Favre was. Yeah, he may come out and he may be 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. All of a sudden, at the end of the game, he may have 4 touchdowns, and the winning touchdown that he throws may be within the last seconds of the ball game. So that's what Brett Favre, that's what made him. He played the game all out. He wore it on his sleeves, and he's a gunslinger.
Russell, it's hard to believe the depths, the lows that Daniel Snyder's taken Washington to. Washington 0-3 looked terrible on Monday Night Football, and they're in a division that they're going to be looking up all year.
Mm-hmm.
They play at New York against the Giants, another guy with a big debut last week, and Daniel Jones from Duke, and the first-round pick. The Giants look very vindicated to make that move, but Daniel Snyder has wrecked Washington, hasn't he?
Man, you look at this organization and just, I mean, we can talk about the last 10, 15 years. You can look at the big name guys that he brought in that were at the end of their career. We can even talk about the Deion Sanders, the Haynesworth, the Bruce Smiths, Andre Reed. Those type of guys were brought in later on and never panned out. And you look at it, he's always spent his money. He's an owner that goes out and spends the money, but he has not gotten his delivery. He has not got his promise back to him from the players. And right now, this is one of the worst teams in football besides the Dolphins. Going and playing against the Giants, I think they have an opportunity to come out and win this football game. But when you look at how Daniel Jones played last week, it's like, man, the Giants look for real. They look like a totally different team. But I will say, not so fast. He's a young kid. He's coming out.
One game.
This is rookie year is just one game. He played outstanding, but he'll have his lows. And hopefully with that Redskins defense can come and attack him, can blitz him off the corners, confuse him a little bit, then maybe they have an opportunity to win the game. But they are in desperate need of a win for this franchise. I mean, because this franchise right here is one of the lowest franchises right now when it comes to wins. And I don't know if Jay Gruden is going to be able to keep his job. I'm really not sure if he's going to be able to remain the coach for the entire season. I'm just looking maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks. If he's not winning, I think he gets fired.
Washington was almost like some of the college teams and some of the college teams in this area, that vicious cycle of changing coach after coach after coach, and some of them pretty good football coaches, but none of them can win. Russell, you enjoy the Tiger game tonight, and we'll visit again next Thursday about the NFL and enjoy the NFL tonight and Sunday night and into Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.
You got it. Russell Copeland talking the National Football League with us, and it was fun to hear just how proud he is of Pollard and the Tiger program. You can feel it. You can feel it around town from all Tigers, and I think it's great. And Pollard showed up prepared for his chance, and that's might be the only one he ever gets, and he's making the most of it.
It really is, and I think having Zeke out for most of preseason really helped him shine. It gave him a spotlight. It gave him a chance to kind of show everybody that, hey, I can do it too. I can come in here and fill these shoes. And with Zeke back, I think that even if Zeke hadn't come back, I think Dallas would still be in the same position. I think Tony could have carried the load.
I think he would. I think they definitely would. 67129, our text line. That's our First Bank text line. Our First Bank phone number is 360-8255. We love telling you about the great folks at First Bank. They have stories and a record of customers reaching high. Community banks are the preferred lender of people building a success story, and you can build your success story with First Bank. All the First Bank bankers have deep Memphis roots in banking and business experience and expertise. They've been on both sides of it. They've been on the lending side from being the borrower to being the lender. They know what you need. You need an answer. You need an answer quickly from Memphis bankers that know about you and where you live. You see them around town in the community. You'll see them tonight at Tiger Lane and at sports. You see them in civic opportunities around town. You see your First Bank bankers around town. You can see them at 4 great locations in Memphis: on Germantown, one on Poplar by International Paper, one at 8398 Highway 64 in Bartlett, another at 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Newer to Memphis, First Bank, but not to Tennessee. First Bank, the third largest bank, headquartered in the state of Tennessee. 75 offices, 58 full-service branches, 1,400 associates, and 4 great locations for you right here in Memphis. Visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. We round out hour 2. We'll start hour 3 by going back out to Liberty Bowl Stadium and visiting with Jason Munns from The Commercial Appeal. Talk Tigers and Navy, and also the release of the Tiger basketball schedule. we hadn't gotten into hard and fast W's and L's on it. It's lightly shaded pencil time right now on the Tiger basketball schedule, but it will be getting here soon. And the top of the hour will be getting here soon, so we better break. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. School's back in. Are the kids going to be running out of hot water every morning? Or worse, are you going to be out of hot water by the time they leave? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. At Conway Services, we're making now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling tanked water heater with a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. See why I say now's the perfect time? Call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater, we'll come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Sundays and Mondays are special at the Butcher Shop, celebrating over 35 years of serving the Mid-South by giving a big thank you to you, their loyal customers. You can come in, relax, watch your favorite games, and enjoy hand-cut steaks along with a premium bar. Sunday and Monday nights from 5 until 8:30, you can get select entrees for $25. That includes a salad, baked potato, and bread, and you don't have to pick one, you get all three. Some of those entrees are 10-ounce New York strip steak, slow-roasted prime rib, Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, marinated grilled chicken breast, grilled boneless pork chops, and crab stuffed shrimp. Plus, all appetizers and desserts are 20% off. Don't forget, Hamburger Friday every Friday from 11 to 2. It's the best. The Butcher Shop, always a Memphis tradition. Call 901-757-4244, 901-757-4244 for more information, or just stop in at 107 South Germantown Parkway in Cordova.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 500 in stock. Branch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone, and remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help you put one of your brand on these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over 1/3 of Memphis's existence. Someone asked me if we remember the day the Rendezvous started, and I tell them no, because if we thought it was going to last this long, we'd have kept much better records. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich. It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on a bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. My grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the Alley in downtown Memphis.
At CDW, we get modern servers need to be flexible.
Flexible, scalable, and predictable. I predicted you'd say that.
Okay, what will I say next?
Probably something about server security.
Impressive and freaky. CDW can implement secure Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gen 10 servers that improve speed and performance while reducing
costs. See predictable.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it.
I predict a web address.
CDW.com/HPE.
I'm in your mind, man.
Grizz Nation, be the first to guarantee your seats to see the next generation of Grizzlies in the biggest games, the best matchups, and the best giveaways of the season. As all single game tickets go on sale Saturday, September 28th at 10 a.m. For details, call 901-888-HOOP or shop Grizzlies.com.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Cardinals fans, if you have not seen how the Brewers opened up the big inning in the fourth today at Cincinnati, that they got 4 runs in that inning to win 5-3. If you haven't seen it, don't seek it out. Don't watch. It'll really make you mad at the Reds. But here's the deal. Cardinals have to win. And it's why I go back to that Sunday afternoon 2 Sundays ago, not last Sunday at Wrigley, but the Sunday before that at St. Louis in the blown game to the Brewers. Think what that math would do now. And I know you can go through a baseball schedule and pick a night out in May 3rd. I mean, way back then. But that one coming down the stretch at home, I thought it would be big, and it has been. You have that back, you about can't blow this. If you have that game back, that magic number, instead of being 3, would be 1.
Yeah, it would. But right now, you still control your own destiny. You're one game up. You got 3 games left. They got 3 games left. You sweep the Cubs, no problem. You go 2-1. Hopefully the Brewers don't sweep.
Rockies get 1.
Hopefully they should. I can't imagine the Rockies been swept many times at home this year.
And for Milwaukee, what they have to be conscious of at some point, know when to fold them. We're not wrecking quality pitching out here last weekend of the year. We got to get right for that one game coming up Wednesday.
Yeah, I say they'll probably, if it might come down to Sunday where they might hold off because, both of y'all win on Friday, then say they lose Friday, y'all win Saturday. Okay, it's done.
Yeah,
done. Math is over. We're done.
Yeah, you play the extended roster guys and start.
But if you both win, you're 2-2. Then you got to go for it, right?
All right, we've almost opened up a can of high hard ones today. Almost another one for you, high hard one. Do we have game 163 from somewhere, somehow Monday in baseball? From either AL wild card getting sorted out, NL wild card getting sorted out, NL Central with Cardinals and Brewers. Do we have game 163? When we're in here Monday, it will be on. I assume it would be Monday afternoon.
It should be.
Or we'd be getting ready for it. Do we have it?
I'm going to say yes. A lot of them's way too close.
Way too close. And I've been Mr. 163 advocate and watched my Cardinals have to be in it. But if they are, it would be. I mean,
you're still not missing out on the playoffs, regardless.
That's right.
If the Cardinals are in there,
it would be to sort out the Central. So if you lose, you have to turn around and play Wednesday, and you can't lose that one. And I've said this about losing that wild card game. There's an aspect to it of, are we really in the playoffs?
It does feel that way. As somebody whose team has been in that wild card game twice, winning one against the Rangers, actually the first year that it became a thing, and then losing back in 16 to
a good O team.
Yes, losing in 16 against Toronto in extra innings. You look up, you wake up the next day and go, yeah, that didn't even really happen. It might as well have been a game 163.
You know what it is if you lose? It's baseball's version of going to Dayton in basketball and losing.
It really is.
Were you really in the tournament?
You weren't.
Yeah, but I mean, the history books say it, but do you really? Do you buy T-shirts that says we were in the tournament and stuff, and we were in the playoffs? No.
I mean, Dayton's not the first round. It's classified as the first round, but it's really not.
When we come back, we start the third and final hour. We'll go out again to Liberty Bowl Stadium. We'll visit with Jason Munns from The Commercial Appeal. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Your trusted source for pool supplies and end-of-season pool closings is Mario's Pool Supplies in Germantown, Tennessee. As the pool season crawls to an end, let Mario close your pool for the winter and secure it with a new safety cover to protect your children and pets over the winter. The 2019 People's Choice Award winner for pool supplies and service, Mario's Pool Supplies, 1986 Exeter Road in Germantown, Tennessee, is your one-stop shop for everything pools. Call 901-552-3399 or stop in and talk to Mario today.
Scott Graham from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football, sponsored by Prilosec OTC. Kick your antacid habit with Prilosec OTC. Week 4 gets started with NFC action from historic Lambeau Field when the Green Bay Packers host the Philadelphia Eagles. After moving to 3-0 last Sunday, Aaron Rodgers says their improved defense is just one of the changes making a difference this year.
I think all of us who've been here for a significant amount of time realize how different this feels. It's just a different energy. You know, it is palpable, it's contagious, it's charismatic, and it's fun. It's fun watching those guys on defense.
For Carson Wentz and the banged-up Eagles squad, they need a win to prevent a 3-game slide. Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli will have the call on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Do you have frequent heartburn, like the kind of heartburn where you stash antacids everywhere? You feel like you got to have those chalky tablets just in case heartburn strikes. If that's you, you do know that there's an easier way to deal with heartburn, right? Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC, you can actually simply not get heartburn in the first place. No more stashing antacids. Try Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Family is big around here. We're family-owned, family-operated, family-managed. And that means legacy. That means dependability. That means using Grainger. With over 1.5 million products and knowledgeable product experts, Grainger has whatever we need. And with same-day pickup and next-day delivery options, they have it whenever we need it. For over 90 years, businesses like ours have trusted Grainger. Because, like family, Grainger's got our back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pop Wigington has been in the restaurant business since the 70s and has now brought 3 generations of family favorites together under one roof at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's takes you back to a simpler time when food and life was more wholesome. Settle down today for lunch or dinner at Pop's with daily specials like country fried steak, fried catfish, chicken and dumplings, or Pop's famous fried chicken livers, all served up with your choice of 23 fresh vegetables like field peas and snaps, seasoned green beans, sweet corn and turnip greens. Hungry for a sandwich? Check out the Chuck, a hand-patted cheeseburger between 2 grilled cheese buns topped with lettuce, tomato, diced onion, pickles, fried egg, and bacon. Or a half-pound flat iron steak sandwich served on Texas toast. Don't forget one of Grandma's homemade desserts like chess pie or banana pudding. Take comfort today at Pop's Comfort Kitchen, 2990 Kirby Whitten Parkway next to Kroger. Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
If you're an outdoorsman and love all things hunting and fishing, be sure to listen to Sports 56 Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. for Outdoors Today. Brought to you by the Gun Store, 6920 Winchester in Memphis. Outdoors Today is a 1-hour show hosted by veteran Mark Tobin and a group of respected outdoor-loving guests. Outdoors Today is dedicated to bringing outdoorsmen tips and techniques and tactics to help with your hunting and fishing in all seasons. Saturday mornings at 6 on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 87.7 and 96.1 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPGFLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave is already at Liberty Bowl Stadium, where we're getting ready to go back to and visit with Jason Munns after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales, where they specialize in late model cars, low mileage, high standards at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars test-driven, checked out head to toe, quite literally bumper to bumper, and an unlimited inventory at DeSoto Auto Sales. Every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, down-home environment, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they make you this guarantee. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, so they guarantee you this, the ultimate car experience. You walk in, meet your sales rep, test drive your car, paperwork, financing done, you've test-driven your car, you're satisfied, all in about 45 minutes. Go online, check out the referrals at DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. DeSoto Auto Sales, that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Back out to Liberty Bowl Stadium. And Jason Munns with the Commercial Appeal covering Tiger football and Tiger basketball. We'll talk some about the men's basketball schedule released last week. But, Jason, I want to start with, I know it, and I have tried my very best to obey it. No cheering in the press box. I'm not advocating that at all, but we do like a good story, and this Tiger football team, that fits the bill. This is a great story, and tonight can really propel it. It can be the accelerant to the rest of the year of undefeated talk. Good evening, Jason.
Hey, how are you? You doing good?
I'm doing well. This is a good story.
For sure. Yeah. No, this will be, this is where Memphis sort of stubbed its toe last year, went up to Annapolis and lost 22-21 in the rain. And I know that's still fresh on a lot of people's minds. And so, yeah, this will be sort of it won't be like a statement game or anything like that, I don't feel. But it'll sort of be almost like crossing a mental barrier or like like some sort of unseen barrier for a lot of people, fans included, because there were a lot of high hopes surrounding last year too. A lot of big talk and hype and all that sort of stuff, and then they go up to Navy and drop that close game, and things kind of got dicey a little bit after that. They lost to Tulane a little bit after that. So getting over this sort of hump, this hurdle, will probably kickstart the hype train again.
It will.
Jason, once again,
I think it will, and it's really a place that Tiger football that it's gotten to. That last year they did win the West, but felt a little unfulfilled. And one of the most fulfilling aspects of last year was that loss to Navy when Memphis was better, but the scoreboard didn't say that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, there was a lot of hype surrounding last season, and then it was like once they lost to Navy, the wind was sort of out of their sails a little bit, and then they go to Tulane, and the wind really gets taken out of their sails, only to have them rebound and get very hot toward the end of the year. But by that time, it was almost like a certain segment of the fan base had sort of checked out, maybe, or at least was trying not to get their hopes up again, and only to have them dashed in a manner of speaking, the way they had them sort of ripped out, had their hearts ripped out against Navy and Tulane. But no, this is, you got the win over Ole Miss to start with, and then this would be like the next big one. They beat Southern and South Alabama, and then this would be the next big one. And then, you don't want to say that this is you're once you get past Navy, it's all in the rearview mirror, because you got Louisiana Monroe next weekend, and those guys almost beat Florida State, like took them to double overtime.
Should
I think.
Won.
So, yeah, and that's a road game, and you certainly can't overlook anybody, especially the Warhawks.
Yeah, and then the road at Temple. Jason Munn's our guest from the Commercial Appeal covering the Tigers, and Jason, last week for the Tigers being off and Navy being off, it really led to the enthusiasm and the build-up for this game tonight. And one of the easier things, but yet difficult when you start playing them about playing Navy, you know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to run. It's going to be pretty base defense. It's right at you on offense. Now you have to stop it. And GAs can work all the offseason on the triple option. You can dedicate a period or two in August camp to it, and if you dedicate that, all right, let's work on some option stuff. When they're not working on option stuff because they're playing Cincinnati, you know it's for Navy. It sounds easy to stop. It sounds like assignment football, but then you have to stop it.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing fancy about what they do. It's just very, very, very difficult sometimes. Like you said, very difficult to stop. It's one of those deals where you've got to be very. It's not the first line of defense. That defensive line. Yes, they have to be good. They have to eat up blockers. They have to take up space. They have to get wide. And so that's not always very easy to do. But it's really up to the linebackers in the secondary. You've got to have speedy, heady linebackers who never just sort of get never get caught with their eyes out of place.
If they do,
that's really,
you'll get gashed. The field will open up like the Red Sea.
Exactly, like in a heartbeat. And then heck, if they run 70 plays a game, 65 of them are run plays, and so it sounds easy. If you're a defensive back, that sounds like, oh, I only got to defend five passes the entire game. Heck, that's easy. But it's not at all. I mean, you have to play every down as though a pass is coming, or else once it does, and heaven forbid you're caught napping, you're thinking it's going to be a run play. Well, then you're burned. You're burned. It's over.
How come more teams don't run the option, the triple option?
I've often wondered that, and I don't know the answer. I mean, I guess it's kind of an antiquated, style, and that's the only thing I can come up with. And
it screams Betamax. It does. It screams a telephone on the wall in your parents' kitchen.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it's hard to recruit to that. You know what I mean? I mean, quarterbacks want to throw the football. Receivers want to run down the field and catch touchdowns and make plays and things like that. I mean, it's not. I'm sure it's not something that is easy to go into a guy's home and say, hey, come play for us. You might catch 2 passes a game, something like that. I'm sure that's tough, but I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah, I think it would crush you first in recruiting at wide receiver. I think that'd be the first place, and then quarterback, and make it very difficult. But it is hard to game plan for, and even again, like when you know it's coming. This schedule has been out a while. The Tigers know this game's coming up. It's still very hard to stop. The men's basketball schedule released last Friday. What do you think's the best parts of the schedule? I love the November, December part, and then get into conference. And Jason, I just can't come up with many losses in conference. I can't come up with many losses in November and December either.
I'm with you. I don't have it right in front of me, but I like obviously the November 12th game in Portland against Oregon. That's the big one. That's the marquee matchup. Really, the entire season. I mean, that's probably going to be 2 top 10 teams by the time it's all said and done. So you've got that. Then there's a stretch that starts. I think it starts with Ole Miss on November 23rd, and they've got like Bradley, NC State, and then UAB and Tennessee back-to-back on the road, December 7th and December 14th. I like that stretch a lot. You've got Ole Miss at home, you've got NC State and Brooklyn on Thanksgiving Day, and then you got the UAB game, which, they can be pesky at times on any given year. The Blazers can be tough to play, and then obviously the big rematch in Knoxville against Tennessee. And then you get into conference play, and there's a 5-game stretch that starts, I believe, on February 1st against UConn, and I think it's at home. So you got UConn, Temple, and then I forget who that third game is, maybe SMU or it's USF. So you got UConn, Temple, and USF at home. Then you go on the road to Cincinnati, defending AAC champs, and to UConn, which had the second-ranked recruiting class to only Memphis in the American Conference this year. So those 2 stretches, I think, are going to be the biggest keys to the entire season.
It's going to be different with Cincinnati without Mick Cronin, but I still think they will be good and a very respectable team. And UConn, we thought they were building at the end of last year, and we know Wichita State was building at the end of last year. So there's some spots in conference, but this team is so loaded. It is really, and I haven't done it hard and fast and my proclamation on the year, but you have to go out there just searching for losses where, most teams, any team, oh, yeah, they're going to lose that one. You can find 5 or 6 easy. It's not easy to find 4, much less 5 or 6.
Not even close.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm thinking 28 wins regular season is about where they're going to be. I mean, they're a young team. Memphis is no doubt a young team. Talented, yes, but still quite young. I mean, we're all talking about a potential 5 freshman starting lineup, and as talented as anybody is, they're still freshmen. So you chalk up 1 to 2 losses just because of that, and then you've got the Oregon game. That one's going to be tough. It's all the way in Portland. It's early in the season. Again, that's not going to be easy either. But everything else, I mean, it's there for the taking. Like you said, UConn's building, Wichita State's building, Cincinnati, even though they lost their coach, they've got the Conference Player of the Year back, Jaron Cumberland. Temple's going to be good again, I think, and I think South Florida, who, if I'm remembering correctly, returned its top 8 scorers.
That's right, they do.
So everybody's back for South Florida. So it's certainly, like you said, you don't look at any game and say, well, they're going to lose that one, but it's not like there's a ton of gimmies out there either.
In the Commercial Appeal, y'all do predictions. Let our listeners know about your prediction for the game tonight.
Memphis and Navy. The spread is what, 9.5, I think, or 10, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Memphis is favored by that much. I think it's going to be a little closer than that and quite low scoring. I've got Memphis winning 21-13. I just think, I think Kenneth Gainwell is going to play very well, and he's going to probably be the MVP of this game. And so I think he's going to be too much for Navy, but it's going to be close. I mean, this could be a one-score game. Well, it's going to be a one-score game based on my final, but based on my prediction. But I mean, it could be like a 4-point game going into the last 5 minutes. But I think Memphis is gonna take care of business.
It should be a great night for football. I know people already assembling along Tiger Lane for the festivities, and the weather a little bit of a break from what we've had so far in this football season. Jason, great to catch up with you and visit with you, and we'll do it again soon. Have a good game tonight.
All right, I love it. Thanks.
You got it. Jason Munns with the Commercial Appeal about the game tonight. His prediction, 21-13. Drew and I will give our predictions in a minute. I want to tell you about Harry's. Look, we've been shaving for a long time, and Harry's, they've gotten it right. That's why Harry's, they don't add any gimmicky features to their razors. The ancient Greeks, they didn't need flex balls or heated handles, and neither do you. Harry's, they keep it simple. They focus on the qualities that actually matter for a close, comfortable shave, and they never upcharge. You get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just use code STATS at harrys.com. I love the close shave from Harry's, the easy glide, and I love that low price. Who doesn't? We all love that. Harry's is a return to the essential. Quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blade. They keep prices low because they cut out the middleman. Harry's is a brand you can be proud of supporting. 1% of sales are donated to organizations that provide access to mental health care for men, and there's no risk to you for trying them out. If you don't love your shave, just let them know, and you'll get a full refund. Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of this show. New customers get $5 off a trial set from Harry's with code STATS at harrys.com. That means you get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping when you use code STATS at harrys.com. I'm packed for the weekend, and I can assure you I packed my Harry's shaving kit. Go to harrys.com today. Use code STATS at checkout to claim your offer. Drew Barrett, your pick tonight, Tigers, Navy.
Well, obviously, I'm going to take the University of Memphis. Score-wise, I'll set it at about 35-21.
Whoa. I agree with you on one side. I wish I'd written my score down. Do you trust me?
I trust you. You're an honest man.
35-10 Tigers. It's not even close. There's really not a position grouping that you would go, all right, I'll take that guy or that group from Navy. It's no slight to Navy. You know I respect Service Academy football, but the athletes are on the Tiger side. What the Tigers have already faced in athletes. I'm not so sure that Southern University not better than at least Holy Cross.
Well, two reasons. I'm glad you brought up Southern. 2 reasons why I'm giving Navy that many points. I'm giving them 21. One, because of Malcolm Perry. He is probably one of the best Navy quarterbacks in the last 10 years. And 2, if you remember that Southern game, really the one thing Southern was able to burn Memphis on, was able to drive down the field on, especially in the first half before they abandoned it for some odd reason in the second half, was the option play. They moved the ball with the option. So knowing that and how great of a player Perry is at quarterback for Navy, I'm going to give him 21, but I don't think Navy's defense comes close to stopping us.
You're right about Perry in the last 10 years, and Dave, we talked about it yesterday. When you say Navy and you say Navy quarterbacks, even to newer fans, you know of Roger Staubach, and older fans we sure do, and he was so great there. I think he won the Heisman in his junior year at Navy and was just a fantastic player. Army's had Heisman Trophy winners. Air Force has never had a Heisman Trophy winner, and I don't think any of the service academies will ever have one again. But if they did, it would be a quarterback.
If they did, it would be. The only problem is the offense that they've run in this past happy college football that we have. And I think two of the last few quarterbacks that Navy has had, if it's not Malcolm Perry winning it or Keenan Reynolds winning it, I mean, we all remember how great he was at the Naval Academy. I don't think you can win a Heisman in that system.
No, that
because it's a team system.
And then Eastern football was so dominant when Army and Navy had their Heisman Trophy winners, and Roger Staubach just an outstanding person. And every year at the Army Navy game, he does a lot of media. And most years, or all the years I've been very fortunate enough to go to the Super Bowl for this station, he's always there, and we catch up with him sometime, and just really nice man. And it's a long time ago now, and it was a much more innocent time. I love this story about Roger Staubach in the Army-Navy game. And this year, the calendar, the date set up just like it did that year. They were set to play the Army-Navy game on Saturday, November 23rd, and the events of Dallas on Friday, November 22nd, the assassination of President Kennedy. They canceled that game. President Kennedy didn't go to the Naval Academy. Was a proud naval officer in World War II and a World War II hero. And so they canceled the game. They made the game up 2 Saturdays later on December 7th, 1963, the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. That's the only time the Army-Navy game's ever been played on Pearl Harbor Day, was the year of President Kennedy's assassination. And I love Service Academy football, and having gone to the Army-Navy game in 2001, you just so respect that youngster that's playing and those young people, male and female, in the stands that make up the Corps of Cadets.
You really do, because I know there's a lot of people out there like me that respect the heck out of them and know that they're better people than me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sign off.
They've answered the call.
They answered the call. They answered the call that I don't know if I could answer.
I
or
wasn't
I'm strong enough to answer.
I wasn't. I'm not.
Austin, as far as men in this building go, Austin's a much better man than me. He was able to answer that call and serve his country. But so I respect the heck out of him.
It is, and you'll feel it tonight. And we were told yesterday by Jeff, and just what a ceremony that they will have tonight. And it's always fun to see them and appreciate what they do on and off the field. Hey, everybody, if it's a Chevy, any new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you need to go. The 2020s are in. The new 2020 Silverados and Blazers are at All-Star Chevrolet. I was down there yesterday, and I mean, they are loaded. The lot is full, ready for you to drive, ready for you to buy, and you can do it. You still do it today, and you sure do it tomorrow and into the weekend. Traverse, Equinox, Impala, best new All-Star Chevy lineup ever, and most have 0 for 72 financing. Only All-Star has the ABCs. A, the All-Star Challenge. Take any written offer from any Mid-South auto dealer to All-Star Chevy. If you can get a better deal, new or pre-owned, they'll buy you a tank of gas. B, the best buying experience, period. No wasting your time. They make it so easy. And C, customer care. You're all in. Loaner cars, free oil changes, that great treatment you get from All-Star. It's the All-Star family you'll be a part of. It's not South Haven. It's not the Pike. It's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy or go to allstarautogroup.com. This afternoon in Cincinnati, the Milwaukee Brewers, they win. They narrow it to 1 game in the National League Central with 3 to go. Cardinals at home this weekend, off today at home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Cubbies, and the Rockies will host Milwaukee. Today was the last game ever for legendary Reds announcer Marty Brennaman, another legendary announcer, Bob Uecker, for the Brewers. If he got to a World Series, you wonder if he might think about retiring. This is the first year since 81 and 82 that the Brewers have qualified for the World Series for the playoffs in back-to-back years. Went to the World Series in 82 and lost to the Cardinals in a 7-game classic. That was Harvey's Wallbangers with the Harvey Keene Milwaukee team. Then in the American League, now in the National League, could be a Milwaukee-Houston World Series. Houston used to be in the American League. There was a time that Milwaukee and Houston in the same – you got all this?
No, I've crossed way too many lines.
But we had and the Brewers played in the American League East. They barely edged out your Orioles in '82. It came down to Sunday afternoon for that.
Y'all just did not know how to schedule things. Y'all thought shooting 3 for 2 was a good idea. Ties were a good idea. You had no idea what maps were.
But we were walking uphill to school. You got to cut a
You're right. You were walking uphill to school both ways. 10 miles in the snow, no shoes on.
In snows of June with heat in the afternoon. This whole global climate change just didn't start. That's how weird it was. Well, we were geographically challenged in baseball at a time, weren't we?
Y'all really were. Y'all are starting to get to where conferences are now, to where nobody looks at globes anymore, and that's how y'all were. Y'all just don't look at a globe.
There are a lot of conference realignments that really should get a map out.
No kidding.
And for your fans to know where to go and who to play and who to be rivals with.
Because I know travel and budgets and everything like that, it's not as hard for teams to, just get across the country or fly 300 miles away. But for the average fan who wants to go to a road game, it becomes hard.
All right, Drew, we had lunch together today. We were at Jason's Deli. You want to tell them about the Plain Jane you had?
It is everything but plain.
It really is.
It's the worst name ever.
It's great food.
It's the best.
And when they set it down, I just kind of chuckled, as I always do when I get it or someone I'm with when they get the Plain Jane, because it is fully loaded like all the great food at Jason's Deli. All those salads, the Mesa chicken salad, chicken club salad. Chris was fired up about tonight, wasn't he? The nutty mixed up salad, the Big Chef salad, the chicken Caesar. Of course, Drew wrapped up the meal with making a beeline to the ice cream stand. We didn't see any poachers in there today. Dave's one of the known poachers.
I didn't see any.
Of not really being in there and having a meal, just going straight to the ice cream stand. They keep eye on that. They'll cut you a break, though, at Jason's Deli. All the great soups. I had the chili today. I think the first chili foray for me of the year. It got down to 70-something degrees, a little bit cooler, but all the breads, all the meats, all the cheeses, all the spreads at Jason's Deli. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. It's all about choice at Jason's Deli, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals. They've got it all. You will be delighted at Jason's Deli. All these great locations in our area: Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Wrap up your meal with the free ice cream. Catering anytime, anywhere for this weekend for game watching parties, Saturday or Sunday, or still not too late to give them a call to head out to Tiger Lane. You can get it at Jason's Deli. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. More baseball talk with our friend Tim Doolin. That's next. You're listening to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. School's back in. Are the kids going to be running out of hot water every morning? Or worse, are you going to be out of hot water by the time they leave? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. At Conway Services, we're making now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling tanked water heater with a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. See why I say now's the perfect time? Call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater, we'll come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hey Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week on the show, Dan Bartow will be in studio with John and I as we recap the Thursday night matchup against the Navy Midshipmen and look down the road at Louisiana Monroe.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
If it's time for a new gun, rifle, or silencer, Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville on Highway 72 is the best place to go. I promise they have the newest, most exciting selection of guns and silencers you could ever want. I don't care if you shoot for fun, hunt, or just need a gun for personal protection, Tactical Guns and Gear has the best selection of firearms around. The only one-stop silencer shop in Tennessee. In less than 10 minutes, they do all the paperwork. Take your photo, originate gun trust, take your prints electronically, and the best part, you never have to scan them again. Yes, silencers are legal. No special licensing, just a simple background check. Silencers don't make your firearms silent. They simply reduce noise for more enjoyable shooting, help protect against hearing loss, reduce recoil. It makes you more accurate. Best silencer place in the entire state of Tennessee, right here in Collierville. For all things guns and gear, ask for Jake or Jim at Tactical Guns and Gear on Highway 72 and tell them Eli says hi. Online at tacticalgunsandgear.com.
I love successes in business. 20 years ago, a guy named Matt Eflin decided when he graduated from the University of Memphis, he was going to get into the insurance business. And man, did he ever get into it. Now, he's got several offices around the area, all to protect you. The main one is in Bartlett, 8099 Stage Hills Boulevard. And the reason Matt is so successful, he's very young, but he's been so successful because he has a unique approach. He tries to have a one-on-one evaluation with each individual to check out their insurance needs. And he specializes in all types of insurance, personal insurance, business insurance. Basically, he sits you down and he asks you whether it's a business or whether it's your home, your family, what's the most important thing you want to protect? And then he figures out your options, collaborates with you, and voila, you're protected. 901-757-2315. That's the Eflin Insurance Group.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Here once again
are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
We know what happened to the Cubs. We got to let Tim Doolin know what happened to the Cubs, Drew. We know what happened to him. It's Dave's fault. He took all the credit for breaking the curse in 2016. He had his victory lap. He had his parade. He didn't get his ring, and we made sure of that. I mean, we made sure he didn't get a world championship ring, but he waved the white flag of surrender, what, about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
At least, I'm going to say a month.
I want to say it was Labor Day afternoon, the Monday after Ole Miss Memphis.
I'm going to say so, yes.
If it wasn't that Monday, it was the next one. So that would have been
No, I'm thinking it's Labor Day because I thought it was even closer to a month, maybe a little over.
Just quit. And look what's now happened to the Cubs and the fallout. Jolly Joe's out. Oh, Groovy Joe's going to be out. Wearing the pajamas on the road trips. Those days are over. The salad happy days of the Cubs are over. I feel it's been 3 years, another 105 to get to another 108.
And you know what? I'll be okay with it.
Tim Doolin joins us now to talk baseball with us. Tim Doolin, you know I'm kidding, but Dave did. You ever known Dave to be a quitter, Tim? You've known him a long time and love him too. For Dave to quit like that.
No, I haven't. I mean, where is Dave?
Well, Dave's
out. He's got a game tonight. He's got a big game tonight.
He's got a big game. He's got a big game, but he's a little bit ducking us on the baseball. Even one day this week said baseball season was over. I said, oh, no. The best time of the year is here.
Yeah, well, I tell you what it is. It really has fallen apart for the Cubs. You know, the way they lost so many one-run games and close games, and then they just continue to get on a streak that was not one that they wanted to get on here at the end of the season. And that was an 8-game losing streak. And
brutal.
Yeah, and I do think Stats. I think it's time for, and oftentimes it's time some guys wear their welcome out. And I think I wouldn't be shocked to see if Theo, even though he's got 2 years left on his contract, they're either going to give him full range to rebuild this thing and get it back, or I know there's talks in Boston that they would be interested in talking to him. I don't think the Red Sox are going to go after Theo. They'd have to give up draft choices and everything else. But the Cubs are at a crossroads, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do during the offseason.
Wouldn't that be something? Him back with John Henry and Tom Warner and company, and that those big brains in Boston. They don't take being out of the playoffs lightly. They want to be right back there next year maybe a return to Theo. Now, one thing at the end of Theo in Boston, he wanted to take all the credit, Tim. At picture-taking time, he didn't want the group picture. He thought it was all him, and I think that frayed some nerves last time.
Well, and there's no question it probably did, but and Boston's another team, much like the Cubs. They're going to have to figure out what direction are they going in, and are they going to go with a young analytical guy that's made some waves in the assistant GM role at some other with some other club? Are they in a rebuilding mode to where they're going to totally go young and lower payroll, or are they going to think they can win again next year? And then if they are, they're going to have to go out and make some key moves and see what happens with. I'm in Texas now. I had a chance to visit with Mookie and see him the last couple of days, and I think it's going to be interesting to see. It really is.
How is his health heading into the off season? Is he clean? I hope he doesn't have to even anything minor to clean up.
No,
he's got
a little bit of a foot issue, but he didn't play today. He's going to play, I think, a couple of games at home, but he's fine. He's fine. It's just people don't realize how long in a grind Major League Baseball
Unreal.
season is. It's both mentally and physically, and so these guys are ready for a break. I can assure you that.
And all joking aside, this is what good franchises and the underpinnings, the foundation of both the Cubs and the Red Sox, that they are. And the Cardinals have been like this out of the playoff picture the last few years. They had winning records. The Cubs are going to win at minimum 82. They're 82-76 going in to the weekend. They played tonight and then the 3 in St. Louis this weekend. So not too bad. And Boston's already posted the 83rd win. Last night, they're 83-76. So in a down year, they're both over 500.
Yeah, they are, and I tell you, when you look at these two clubs, they're very similar. And we're talking about two teams that aren't making the playoffs instead of the ones that are. But nonetheless, I think what's interesting is that Boston had a really good year. Offensively, they put up a lot of runs. Devers came out of nowhere and just put up a monster year. And you've got the likes of, even our boy from Mississippi State has really made a salary run. I think he's going to try to he's liable to get a 2-year deal from somebody. And then
it started coming undone for them early with Chris Sale, didn't it?
Well, it really did. And I think what's critical is that when you lose a bullpen that helped you win a World Series, the core of it, you didn't re-sign the closer, and you look up. And baseball, to me, you've got to have a strong bullpen, depth in the bullpen, as well as good starting pitching. And although they had good starting pitching, they couldn't stay healthy. David Price was in and out of the DL, and you had Sale, on and off the DL as well. So they've got those two guys coming back. They're obviously going to hope that those guys get really, really healthy and can come back and win 15 to 18 games for them.
Tim, of course, only if your schedule allows it, but for the playoffs, might check in with you other than just in our regular spot, and maybe before the playoffs get started on Tuesday, if there's not a game, even if there's a game 163 and into Wednesday, to get predictions and things. But right now, just looking at it, it could change for you. Who do you think that is thinking the most about this is go for it year? In a month, we should be planning a parade. We should be ordering rings. 2019 World Series champions. Who is it?
Oh, I think it's got to be the Dodgers on the National League side. I mean, they've had such a great year, been so close the last couple of years, hadn't been able to finish. And then I think on the American League side, I think it's the Yankees, and I think they're both in the same kind of a mode of like, we've got a huge payroll, we've got every player that the manager wanted. And they've had monster years as far as numbers of wins. So I think it would be a great series. It would be great ratings if you had the Yankees and Dodgers in it. And I think that's probably what's going to happen.
It'd be a throwback series for sure, and it would be two guys that both had World Series championship success as players, Aaron Boone with the Yankees and Dave Roberts with that key steal in 2004 against the Yankees to spark the unbelievable story that the Red Sox have been on a great roll ever since. I think it's Houston, and I think this is the last year Houston probably can be entering into this time of year thinking that. I think A.J. Hinch can outmanage either one of those guys if he runs into Boone in the LCS or if he runs into Dave Roberts in the World Series.
Well, I would not take anything away from the Astros and their chances of getting there again as well. It's all going to come down to who pitches it better than the other team and who is able to manufacture runs in key innings. The Yankees do have some team speed. They do have some guys that can put the ball in play. Obviously, the Astros have one of the most complete offensive lineups with the ability to hit the ball over the fence as well as to manufacture some runs. They've got guys like Altuve and Bregman, not to mention
Guerrero.
All those guys.
All those guys.
Top to bottom, that lineup.
They're 8th and 9th place guys.
Yeah, they can both do damage with power, but also they've got the ability to move runners over, hit and run, lay down a bunt if they need to, and they've got the pitching to go with it.
I was looking at potential every single possible World Series matchup from Milwaukee against Minnesota to Yankees Dodgers would be one of the glamour ones in the preseason. In my preseason picks, I picked Yankees over the Cardinals in the World Series. That could happen. I'm not really going out and betting a whole lot on it. Do you think it's go for it year for the Cardinals?
Well, I'm sure. I think it's go for it year, but I just don't think they've got enough there. They've had a great year. I think he's going to be the manager of the year in the National League, and very deserving. So for him, and kind of a little bit of concern. Walker coming out of the game, yesterday in the second inning with some stiffness. That's, I'm sure, a concern for the Cardinals. But yeah, I think they've got a very good club. I just don't think that they match up quite as well against the Dodgers or the Braves. I think the Braves are a little bit ahead of the Cardinals.
I do too.
To be honest with you.
I do too. I said yesterday, I just thought the Braves could handle it. Now I'm a little worried about this hip injury with Ronald Acuna, and they're being very, very precautionary and very cautious with taking care of him for the playoffs. Brian Snitker's done a job, and he earned it. He took over really kind of a suicide mission as interim manager, and he just earned it.
No, he really did, and I don't think any prognosticator out there would have said that this guy was going to be the manager of the Braves, long-term, short-term, other than finishing out the year last year when he got the interim job. And he's done a remarkable job. He's paid his dues. Obviously, he gets along well with the brass, and he's been able to, somewhat, I think, bring old traditional thought processes of how the game's supposed to be played and really meshed some of the new innovative analytic things that we're seeing in the game today.
Where do you think Joe Madden manages next year, Tim?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know that he does. I think he might take a year off and just sit on the sidelines and kind of wait and see. And
then people will be fighting over him at some point.
Well, somebody will. I mean, he's a good baseball man.
Yeah.
I do think so. But I'm not so, and I heard the other day somebody mentioned Felipe Lou as a candidate, and I don't see that. I love Felipe Lou. Got a chance to know him when he was managed in the minor leagues. Obviously, he came through Memphis. But I would be shocked to see anybody hiring someone like a Felipe Lou. But
yeah.
Who knows? And Joe Madden's really in that mold. I mean, even though he's an old school guy, he is one of the guys that brought the lineups, hitting the pitcher eighth and doing some crazy things like that. I think he'll have a role. I don't think he's just going to jump at a job just to take another job. I think he's eccentric enough and confident in his own ways that he would be willing to sit on the sidelines and wait and see what happens.
I hope for the best for Mickey Callaway, but if he is relieved of his duties as the skipper of the Mets, somebody hires him as a pitching coach almost immediately. You're talking about a formidable team. If you had Joe Madden as manager and Mickey Callaway as pitching coach with the Padres' young team next year.
Well, that could happen.
Sure could.
I think I don't know we don't know behind the scenes what type of relationship the GM of the Mets, Brody, has with Joe Madden. He might have a relationship with Joe Madden. He might love Joe Madden, and that might be a great fit for him. I don't know that, but the Padres do have one of the top-ranked young teams in the big leagues, as well as they have a great minor league system and plenty of prospects coming up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in San Diego. That's for sure.
Tim, we'll talk baseball for sure again next Thursday, and we may catch up with you a little bit earlier in the week as we will have playoff baseball next week and maybe game 163 on Monday to sort something out, maybe two of them.
Sounds good. I look forward to talking to you guys.
Tim, thank you. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, Brett, thanks.
Thank you. Tim Doolin talking baseball with us, and we love doing it. Williams Equipment Supply, they're your homegrown, locally owned, and they're number one in compact construction equipment, and they've represented the Bobcat Company for 50 years. Bobcat is the industry leader in compact loaders and excavators. Support American manufacturing, buy, lease, or rent Bobcat equipment. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 great locations. Whether you do plumbing, utilities, swimming pools, concrete breaking, or foundations, Williams Equipment Supply, they have the right Bobcat excavator for you. They also have the largest inventory of equipment, attachments, and parts, the largest compact rental fleet, and the best technicians and the most locations. Again, 9 locations in our area. Whether you buy, lease, or rent, Williams Equipment Supply, you need them at a price that you can afford. They stock the widest range of Bobcat attachments, augers, hydraulic breakers, angle broom sweepers, brush cat rotary cutters, hydraulic clamps. They have it all. For a demonstration or more details, call Cody Bumpus, your North Mississippi Bobcat specialist. Cody sells 901-508-8739. He'll help you out. Or in the Memphis area, Sam Watson, he's the Memphis area Bobcat specialist. Sam's cell is 901-326-6429. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 locations. We come back, we wrap up the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We gave out our predictions. Again, Drew, your prediction was?
35-21.
And mine's 35-10. Tigers roll big. Jason Munns with the Commercial Appeal, he picked 21-13. Attendance tonight, how much conversation you think will be about it tomorrow? In victory, how much will be?
I don't think there should be any more conversation about attendance. I believe attendance is what it is at this point. I think we've hit where we're going to be for the remainder of the year. I think the only controversy about the attendance is what kind of crowd it is. Is it a lively crowd? Is a crowd that's into the game? Is it a passionate crowd? If it's not that, then yeah, there can be some criticism, but I expect it to be.
And should be a delightful night for football. We will wrap up this day. When we come back, you're listening to Sports Time with Wolo Stats on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's Summer Savings Event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
folks, good news for bargain hunters and bandits from the Chevy Sheriff in Collierville. Sunrise Chevy has over 500 Chevys and used cars in stock just in time for the Sunrise Low Price Rodeo. Factory rebates up to $5,000, Sunrise discounts high as $8,000, and don't forget, Sunrise specializes in secondary financing. Need a good body shop? Bring it to Sunrise. We work on all makes and models. Remember, you can bring your Chevy to Sunrise for service no matter where you bought. Buy American and buy from Sunrise. There's always a sale at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Find new roads to 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Chevys cost less at Sunrise, partner.
At CDW, we get modern servers need to be flexible, scalable, and predictable. I predicted you'd say that.
Okay, what will I say next?
Probably something about server security.
Impressive and freaky. CDW can implement secure Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gen 10 servers that improve speed and performance while reducing
costs. See, predictable.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it.
I predict a web address.
CDW.com/HPE.
I'm in your mind, man.
Want to bet? Las Vegas is miles away. The sports books at Hollywood Casino Tunica and First Jackpot Casino are much closer. We're your 50-yard line, behind home plate, center court ticket to real odds, points, and over-unders. We've got all the action, the largest video screens, and the best prop bets in town. So come place your bets at the sports books at Hollywood Casino Tunica and First Jackpot Casino. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-777-9696.
Are you tired of all the clouds and bad weather? Rain brings pollutants that can wreak havoc on your car's finish, but there is someone who can help. Car Wash USA Express has introduced their most advanced car wash yet with the exclusive Polymer Pro Wash, creating a stronger, more consistent protective sealant for your car's finish. Polymer Pro can only be found at Car Wash USA Express, where attendants are always on duty to keep you and your vehicle safe. For more information and locations, visit carwashusaexpress.com. Car Wash USA Express, because a dirty car is a dirty shame.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. It's crunch time.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way?
It's crunch time, so I got a different mind state.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
Did he throw those ears forward? He was in stroke mode.
It's obviously crunch time.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Drew, I learned today that Thursday night football will feature the Tigers and Navy tonight. Also in the NFL, it'll feature the Eagles and the Packers. But it's going to be fun at the Liberty Bowl, about an hour to kick off. Go Tigers. I think they have to have a big game from Brady White tonight. I talked about that a lot today. And they've got to rest the defense some. You don't need kind of that hypnotic state you can get in playing Navy tonight. It could be really close. Also learned that the Brewers are on fire. Playoffs back-to-back years for them for the first time since Harvey's Wallbangers. What'd you learn today?
Learned today that the University of Memphis's men's basketball team is coming to ESPN Plus as the 2019-2020 Tigers will be featured in a docuseries following the team all year long on this hopeful historic run. The first episode is set to premiere in mid-November, and I can't wait.
I went to buy a college basketball magazine yesterday, and it was nothing but Kentucky players where I was shopping featured on the cover, and I didn't buy one.
That's weird. They didn't have regional covers?
I would have thought there would have been a lot of Memphis covers on the cover of the magazines in Memphis. But I'm going to go to a different place next week. I know they'll have it. I know Novel will have Tigers on the cover. I should have started there first. Why did I not start there first? Could have done without. Bryce Harper got his feelings hurt last night. He won't tell us what was said, but he said in the late innings the Washington fans crossed the line. He didn't tell us what line. I wonder what it could be. There's lines out there, but what kind of reception did he think he would get? And I say a big fat too bad to him. There are cause and effect to things in life. He was a free agent. He could go anywhere he wanted to go. That's fine. He decided he was going to go to the Phillies, and then ironically the Phillies get closed out and the Nats punch their ticket right there in D.C., and he didn't like what they were saying to him. Too bad.
Too bad, Bryce. I mean, come on. What do you think they were going to do? Tip the cap to you and say thank you?
Right. I mean, too bad. What is it you could have done with that today?
Could have done without the new G League rule that was released today, that was starting next season, where all trips to the free throw line will only be one shot and worth 1, 2, or 3 points. It'd be hard to keep up with, and it sounds like we're going backwards. It sounds like some of the old cockamamie stuff y'all used to do.
Well,
we're going backwards in time. Let's keep going forward.
Well, 3 to make 2 was different, and the NBA back then is not anywhere near what it's like now. It was good, but it's not anywhere near like it is now. If you're going to experiment, at least start it out down there. But I'm afraid too much of this stuff is going to ending up at Showtime in the bigs, with both what they're trying to do at the minor league baseball level and now with the D League. Tonight, I'm going to keep a close eye on Aaron Rodgers against Carson Wentz. Cleveland at the White Sox. They can't lose. 0 margin of error for Tito Francona's team. And the Dodgers and the Tim Doolin said the teams to beat were the Dodgers and the Yankees. I think it's the Astros. I think that's the team to really keep your eye on down the stretch, and with the playoffs starting next week. The A's at Seattle late. All the teams are decided, just a matter of what seed they will be, except for one team will be left out in the American League. Will it be Cleveland or will it be Tampa Bay? I don't think it will be Oakland. I'm out tomorrow, but it'll be a fun Friday for you guys. You'll hear me Saturday at 12:30. with Ole Miss pregame, 2:30 kick for the Rebels and the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. For Dave, for Drew, I'm Brett. Everyone have a great Thursday night, and go Tigers.
Iron Eagle and Tony Baselli here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview sponsored by Prilosec OTC. Kick your antacid habit with Prilosec OTC. We've got a great NFC matchup for you coming up from Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers and the 3-0 Green Bay Packers hosting Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles, Tony.
The Eagles and Carson Wentz had a really tough loss and let one slip away last week. And with the Cowboys off to a perfect start so far this year, they cannot afford to go 1-3. On the other hand, the Packers are 3-0, and that's really because their rebuilt defense is playing so well. Offensively, Aaron Rodgers started a little bit slow in the new system, but he's really starting to find his rhythm now.
All right, join us for the Eagles at the Packers on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Do you have frequent heartburn, like the kind of heartburn where you stash antacids everywhere? You feel like you gotta have those chalky tablets just in case heartburn strikes. If that's you, you do know that there's an easier way to deal with heartburn, right? Prilosec OTC, just one pill a day will last a full